see if he's got it inside.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Andy Garcia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Andy Garcia's mic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Andy Garcia's mic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We welcome you to Chicago Force Football. Andy Garcia with you, alongside Trisha Charbonneau. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right.
McDonald's, one of our sponsors. There's Arches. Yeah. they should have them as a sponsor.
Let me grab it now. Thank you.
16 people watching already. I'm telling you, tweet. Everybody's out. I tweeted at Facebook. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be all right. Safi Mojidi. The heater? You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. Really? Is mine on? I had it last week. Where'd you turn it on at?
Turkey 1, 2, 3, testing.
Is that on online? The leak's there.
What are you running the anthem right at 0000?
You have to keep it indoors. It's indoors. See who. Okay. So Jeff, you want to do the lingerie football week? All right, I'll try to see if we can pick it up.
high-level, very historic and successful organizations within the WFA. Number 2, we should see a little bit of maybe a little bit of revenge seeking on the Chicago Force side here after the National Conference Championship game last season. And then I think the third thing that we're looking for is just a whole bunch of athletes that want to go at it that are really competitive. So today's going to be a wonderful day.
So let's go back and talk about that National Conference Championship game. DC beat Chicago in DC,
Yep.
43-24. A physical game.
Very.
The Chicago Force came in with some injuries, but there were more injuries going out of that game. A very physical game. Both teams have opportunities. The Force had a chance to tie it or take the lead in the fourth quarter. Not able to take advantage of that. The DC Divas defense got a turnover. They'd go on the win. But when you have this type of game between the Divas and the Force, it's going to be very physical.
It is, and talking to some of the players while they were warming up today, that was one of the things that was just very on the forefront of their minds, was how different they expected this game to be from the last time that they played. I mean, people that were talking about, they remember, they have that burning anger inside of losing that game, but they were cognizant of the fact that there was injuries. They were cognizant of the fact that they had worked so hard to try. Like, as you said, the Force had the chance to come back in that game and couldn't quite get to the end. But I hope that seasoned a lot of people last season, and that this year they're going to bring those memories and that fire back to today's matchup.
Not only are we online, we got video. We're on stream, so get on. ChicagoForceFootball.com will have the link for you if you're listening to us on the radio. WJOB 1230 AM. Christina Cortez is back with the board operating, doing a great job. Again, let's give you those sponsors, because we couldn't do any of this without our sponsors here, Chicago
Absolutely.
Force Football. Brought to you by Athletico, by Celtic Crown Pub, by DLG Management, by Rayla and Associates PC, and by Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. All right, more about this matchup as we move forward. In the game last season, in the championship game, conference championship, DC only passed for 73 yards. They're a team that wants to be balanced. They want to run the ball and pass the ball. We'll talk more about that. They only had 6 completions last year, but they ran the ball for 348 yards against the Force. It's going to be a key today. What team can get their running game going?
Yeah, well, it's interesting to bring that stat up about the potency of the Washington offense last year, because as I was talking to Coach Coleman before the game started, he was talking about some of the surprises that he's found on the defense this year. One of them has been the strength of the middle, and actually having Jamie Menzik move from the offensive to the defensive line could be a huge factor in today's game. Even though the last time these two teams played, there was a lot of linemen who were asked to play both sides of the ball, having Jamie and her ability dedicated to the defensive side could make a big difference in reducing the number of rushing yards that DC gets. We also have Kelsey Casey, who's having an amazing year. Mary Chules, who is just bringing it every single down. And you can't talk about the Force defense without mentioning Angel Smith.
Yeah, Angel Smith's had an outstanding season so far. She leads the team in tackles, 27. She also has 4 sacks this season. She really has done a good job with that. Let's talk more about the Force overall. 4-0. You mentioned the defense.
Yep.
Offensively, listen to this stat. The Force have outscored their opponents so far, 224-12.
I love that.
That's unbelievable.
It is.
In your eyes, what's been the key for the offense so far?
Well, I think one of the things that we're seeing is Coach Konecki is really very deliberate in his game planning every single week. And then I think the other thing is that, and I hope this doesn't sound too aggressive, we are just beating people on a man-on-man basis. Like I was talking to Don Peterson in the pregame about last week's game, talking about how, because of the weather conditions, we were forced into the running game primarily, and saying, like, we were running the same play over and over and over again. And she was just talking about how invigorating that is for the offensive line and even for all the offensive players to just bring it every single play and beat the person opposite them. And I think that's a big difference that we're seeing, is that confidence in the offense this year.
And the offense starts with Rasan Gore.
Yeah.
And what she's done with her feet. 14 rushing touchdowns. Rasan Gore, the Chicago Force overall, the #1 rushing team in the WFA.
Yeah.
Rasan Gore is the #1 rusher. That's a quarterback with over 683 yards running the ball, 14 touchdowns. we'll see a lot of it with her feet today, but she's going to have to do some with her arm and have to throw it a little bit today.
She's going to have to do that in order to keep the Washington defense honest. And something we haven't touched about, I mean, it's a beautiful day today, but we haven't talked about the wind, which is going to be a significant factor today and is going to affect our passing game. But you can even see it in the warm-ups. I mean, her passes look better. The receivers' routes look crisper. That should be a bullet in the gun today for Coach Konecki.
Let's talk a little bit about the weather before we get back to D.C. 55, maybe get up to 60 by game time, but the wind, and if you're watching on the video, it's really moving from right to left, and it's a strong wind. The team that has to deal with that, each team's going to have to deal with it for 2 quarters. But who's going to have to deal with it at the end of the game? It really could come down to a 1 or 2 possession game, and the wind, and it could be a huge factor in the game.
It absolutely could, and it'll be interesting to see as the game moves on how much of the passing game is a factor, because as we're standing up here in the booth and we were watching the pregame warm-ups, DC is built with some big players, and they clearly are going to have a grind-it-out mentality today, which could affect, they could focus on the running game a little bit. We'll see how that balances overall.
Let's talk about DC. They come in 3-1. Talk about 2 games to start out a season. You start taking on Dallas, one of the top teams. You got Dallas, Chicago, D.C., Boston.
Rematch of the national championship last year.
And they start out the regular season, and Dallas gets the win. Then you have to go to Boston. D.C. did. They got a huge win on the road, so that got them to 1-1. They've got some big blowouts as of late. They beat Atlanta big last week, but they're back at it. They're on their winning ways, and like I mentioned, they really like that balance attack. They can run the ball, but they also can throw the ball, and they've got a really good quarterback in Allison Hamlin. She right now is number 4 in the WFA, 768 passing yards.
Man, the only thing you can say about the DC Divas schedule this year is at least they don't play Pittsburgh. Otherwise, they started out with Dallas in that rematch we talked about. They played Boston in the second game. They're going to close the regular season at Boston, which something I'm sure we'll talk about through the course of the broadcast is the new playoff system this year and about how the different tiers are set up. And, of course, everybody except for the Pacific region will make the playoffs, but the fact that they're going to have to close the season in a game against Boston is going to significantly affect the seeding for the postseason. And in this league, that translates to not only wear and tear on your players in terms of travel, but dollars. So it's a big factor this year.
We saw what Kenyatta Grigsby can do, the running back for the DC Divas. She's got 341 rushing yards this season, 6 touchdowns. She had a big game against the Force. But for Chicago, what do you do first? You got to try to stop the run. Even though Allison Hamlin can throw the ball around, you've got to stop DC in one of those facets to start the game out.
Yep. I think it's going to be a matter of being a stalwart up front and shutting the running game down, which will force the passing game. And I think that's where we're going to see a little bit more sort of potential for wackiness, that there's a lot of things that can happen in terms of the way our defensive corners play. They're very tough. And the way the wind is going to be a factor in the passing.
This is the 150th game for the DC Divas in their franchise.
Wow.
You're talking about a team that is the reigning champions in the WFA, and they've got a lot of confidence, even coming on the road. The schedule they play gives them a lot of confidence. I've got to feel they've got to feel pretty good about coming in with the squad that they have. Even though they're on the road, they've got some confidence. They may have that loss to Dallas, but they know they can play with anybody.
I think they absolutely know that. And one of the great things about seeing a matchup like today's game is 2 quality teams in the WFA. And if you're going to, have that swagger and have that confidence to say that I'm the best that there is, you got to play the best that there is. And so that's why today's matchup is so crucial, just not only for each organization to really, use it as a litmus test, but also as a testament to the league. Like, this is the product that we can offer, and it should be engaging.
Again, women's tackle football. I'm Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau. If you're watching online, great, you can watch the film and kind of see what we're talking about. If you're listening on radio, you're going to hear a good one. This is 2 of the top teams, not just in the WFA, Women's Football Alliance. This is the top 2 teams in women's tackle football.
Yes.
So you're going to hit their chance to see and watch and listen to a good one today. I had the chance to talk to head coach John Konecki. He's the head coach of the Chicago Force before the game today. This is a little bit of what he said. Before I get that set up, I had the chance to talk to John Konecki. Always get the chance to talk to him before the game, just get his thoughts about the season so far, getting ready for DC, and as soon as I can tune this up correctly, I'll make sure that we can listen to head coach John Konecki. Here he is right now. All right, Coach, 4-0 after last week, a big win against Columbus, 68-0. What pleased you the most about that game last week?
Obviously, we had inclement weather, and I liked how our team prepared to play in that inclement weather. I mean, we only threw 2 passes. We were able to get the ground game going. There's a lot of participation from a lot of different people on both offense, defense, and special teams. I was really impressed with how well our special teams played last week. I think we had 2 or 3 recoveries last week, and they did a really nice job with that in that phase of the game, and we did a nice job of not turning the ball over, even in really bad conditions. Yeah.
Rasan Gore continues just to get the rushing touchdowns, but she just continues to have that poise as the quarterback and lead this offense and score points.
Yeah, I told Rachel all along. I mean, she's the type of quarterback who rewrites the game. I mean, she can throw the ball, she can run, and it's not, and that's sometimes mutually exclusive in that position. But she can do both, and she's really done a nice job, especially the first couple of games where we haven't had the best weather. We've had 50-mile-an-hour winds, and it's not the most advantageous to throw into, and it's been great that she's been able to take the most out of that. But she also knows as this thing goes further, more of her teammates have to contribute, and she's done a fantastic job for us so far. And we know that if we need to, we can count on her and contribute for her to get some tough yards.
Defensively for your team, what has impressed you the most about that side of the ball where they're just not giving up any points?
Yeah, that's a really stout group. I mean, they are playing very physical, aggressive defense. They are getting after their opponents, and they are, every play they are coming after their opponents. And we're doing a nice job with our assignments, and everybody's taking care of the job. And because of that, everybody can do their own job. And we have a group that trusts each other, and they trust, that everybody's going to get things done. I mean, if you really wanted a really good indication, our practice sessions are it's terrible both ways. I mean, we have a very good offense, very good defense, and so it ends up being a stalemate half the time. And I always have to go back to, I'm just happy I don't have to play that group on a regular and consistent basis.
We hear coaches say throughout the regular season we want to get better each and every game. How can your team get better going into today?
Well, I think that you measure it with this is a game where you're going to measure if you got better, but if you walk away with a W. Obviously, we're playing a very good team, defending national champions. They're going to come with, and it's going to be a great game for 60 minutes. I think we just have to, we want to try to get the air game going, the passing game going. We want to continue to minimize our turnovers. And at the end of the day, as a coach, the only thing you ever ask of your players is you don't tell them to go out and win a game. I mean, that's we focus a lot on the process, and we believe that the outcome will take care of itself. So we want our players to just go out there, and it sounds very cliche, but we want them to do their best. And if they do their best, then we can go back and we can fix things when we get to practice. And this is a group that's really dialed in, and they're really excited, and we just need to continue. This is a game for us that I think will help potentially define who we are in the season.
Give me the scouting report on the Divas.
Yeah, they're big, they're physical, they're aggressive. They can put the ball in the air. They can hurt you with, Ashley Hamlin's a very good quarterback. She can hurt you with her wideouts. Grigsby is a very good tailback. They have a very good offensive line. Defensively, they're stout up front. They run well sideline to sideline. They will, and they rally to the ball, and they play a quarters defense. And because of that, they put a lot of faith in their secondary to rally to the ball, and they do a fantastic job. And you're not gonna get huge plays against this team. You're gonna earn everything that you get. So you're looking at multiple play drives that you can't make mistakes in.
What will you tell your team right before the kick? It's going to be physical. What else do you have to tell them?
Well, there's a lot of things I'm going to tell them when we go on the sidelines. I'm just going to reiterate that if you want anything in life, you got to take it, and that's would probably be the overlying theme. If you want it, you got to take it. There's no getting around it.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Not a problem. Thank you.
So that is head coach John Konecki. Always great to talk to, the head coach of the Chicago Force. We have right now the coin toss. It looks like Chicago won the toss, declined, so they're going to kick off to the DC Divas, which is key, Trish, as we start out here. And as we mentioned, the wind is going to be a factor today.
Yeah, absolutely is going to be a factor. So we knew Coach Konecki is going to have that game plan in place and would advise people as such. So I'm excited to get this game going, Andy. All this conversation is definitely a great build-up, but I'm ready to see some football.
So we're going to take a break right before the national anthem here, a 2-minute timeout. 2-minute timeout, Christina, back in the WJOB studios. And when we come back, we'll have one of the top games of the year in women's tackle football. It's the DC Divas taking on the Chicago Force. We'll have it after this. You're listening to Chicago Force Football on AM 1230 WJOB.
Ladies and gentlemen, could you please rise? Face the northwest corner for the Performed by Alicia Regina, a 50-year-old freshman from Young Grove High School. She is currently a member of the Arizona Youth Department. That's
awesome.
Alicia.
Welcome back, Lane Tech High School, Lane Tech Stadium. Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau here, downtown Chicago. Women's tackle football. Have you never heard of it? NCAA football rules. This is the Women's Football Alliance. 42 teams in this alliance from all the way Portland, Oregon, far west to far east.
Yep.
Miami, Orlando, D.C., Boston, and teams in between. Glad you could join us. One of the top matchups here in the WFA. It's the 4-0 Chicago Force taking on the 3-1 DC Divas. And we mentioned the weather.
Yep.
It's a nice day. It's a sunny day.
Way better than last week.
Oh, you can say that again. But the wind will be coming from the right to the left, almost cross field. It should be an interesting factor in the ball game as Chicago will kick it off. First to the DC Divas. Back deep for DC, Shaquanda Gainey. She'll be the far receiver back for DC. Again, the Divas played two of the top teams in the WFA to start out the season. They took on Dallas, they lost. Then they won at Boston. Got a couple wins after that. They beat Richmond, the Black Widows, and then they beat the Atlanta Phoenix. For Chicago, really has been all blowouts for the Force so far. 58-6 win at West Michigan. At Indy, they won 52-0. At St. Louis, they won 46-6. And last week, you heard the broadcast, as the Force beat the Columbus Comets 68-0. This is a rematch of the National Conference Championship game. DC beat Chicago 43-24. Very physical game. We expect that today. Glad you could tune in. If you're listening on the radio, AM 1230 WJOB. And if you're listening and watching online, the link is on chicagoforcefootball.com. We've got 81 people watching now. We've heard from people in the Czech Republic. We've heard from people in California, Kentucky, all over the place. We're about to go. Kelly Reel will kick it off. Back deep is Gainey for DC.
DC's in an interesting setup right here on the start. The Chicago Force plays a kick receive of a 5-2-2-1, and 5-2-2-2 actually, and this is a 5-3-2-1 setup.
It'll be a short kick. It's caught by Brownson. She got up to the 40-yard line, and that's where DC will start their offense. With quarterback Allison Hamlin, she's 54 of 94 passing, 768 yards. That's number 4 in the WFA. 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The starting lineup: the offensive line, Rebecca Worsham, Missy Bedwell, Rachel Hoon, Catherine Blaze, Lauren Chesley. Hamlin's the quarterback. You'll see a lot of Kenyatta Grigsby, the top running back for DC. They'll start out in the pistol. They have 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the near side. Hamlin giving out the signals. She has Grigsby right behind her. She gets a snap, licking the throw, and on the first play, we've got a flag. It's before the snap. So I think we'll just reset here. Ball's marked at DC's own 40-yard line. We're just starting out the Force and the Divas.
We've got a different Chicago defense this week, a little deviation from last week. We got Jamie Fornell starting at the near side corner here. Dorian Bridges still on the far side. Alicia Oakery and I'm trying to identify that Matheson also on the far end of the field there.
So again, it's 4 wideouts, 3 to the far side. Hamlin gets a snap, looking to throw. Near side, and it's caught. No.
Out of bounds.
Tapped away. Good defense from Jamie Fornell. The intended receiver was Ashley Wizenot. She's the top receiver for DC, and you can see right there, one-on-one.
Yeah, our fresh player on the Chicago Force defense gets the first test of the game here. It's a 10 or 15-yard pass, caught, but the player was forced out of bounds. So definitely we can see with the wind behind them,
yes,
DC's going to use the passing game.
That's the key. DC has the win here in that first quarter. They're going to try to take advantage of it. Can't also forget, we have, 3 Australians on the Force team, so we're going to hear from people in Australia on 2nd down and 10 from their own 40. Again, in the I formation is DC. Hamlin under center. Gets the Force to jump, but the Force get back on. No, they do not. They're going to get the flag.
Oh, false start, actually.
No, they're going to say that DC moved.
The aggressiveness of the Chicago Force, causes penalty on their side. It's good to see us continue to be aggressive and going after the ball start of the game.
So a full start on DC, push them back 5 yards. So they'll go back to their own 35-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 15.
I thought that was a really interesting and very powerful component of Coach Konecki's pregame speech was when you want something, you got to go after it and get it. Nobody's going to hand it to you. And I'd love to see the Force defense just come out, not looking for whatever Washington's going to give. They're going out to shut them down from the start.
The pitch to Grigsby. Trying to get to the outside. She's taken down. Good one-on-one tackle from Alicia Oakery, who got in the backfield and able to get the shoestring tackle on Grigsby. A loss on 2nd down for DC.
Great movement to the ball there by the Force defense. Everybody was moving laterally, keeping themselves free at the DC offensive line and the people that are coming up to defend. It was a great team defensive play right there.
Loss of 3. So it's going to bring up 3rd and 18. They're going to mark it at the 32-yard line. So the first 3rd down test for DC comes early in the ball game. We still have 13:54 to go here in the first quarter, no score. Hamlin again under center I formation. Gets the snap, licking the throw, far sideline, a little bit too far for the intended receiver, which is Katrina Wilson. Good pass defense again from Chicago, so that's going to bring up 4th down for the Divas.
One of the things I've really liked to see watching Coach Coleman's defense is his aggressiveness on those 3rd down situational plays. He is bringing the house. You're seeing 7 people coming into the box and really intimidating, I think, the offensive team.
It'll be the 5th punt of the season for Stephanie Nealis.
This is a great start for the Chicago Force defense. I mean, if you could hope for anything, it would be the DC would go 3 and out, that you'd push them into negative yardage.
So the Force able to get the stop on the first drive.
Let's watch for DC to be fancy here.
DC will kick it away on 4th and long. Low snap. Nealis gets it off.
Ooh.
It's going to take a DC bounce at midfield. Then it's picked up right at midfield to the 45. Near side 40. 35-30. We got a flag on the play. Is Cassie Brick still on her feet to the 10? 5. She's going to take it to the house on the near side, but we do have flags down. This one's going to come back. There might be a hold, but Cassie Brick, who is seeing her first play of the season, back returning punts, takes it back for a touchdown, but there was a flag on the play, and this one looks like it's going to come back from Chicago.
Well, it would be nice to find out that this is just a taste of what we are going to see today with Cassie Brick back on the field here. I mean, everybody who's been following the Force knows about her speed, about her ability to navigate through all the wash and all the mess down the field. So it's great to see her back here picking that up.
The call on the field is illegal hands to the back. It's going to push the Force back.
I hope that if you're a DC player right now, though, that even though that's a play that's called back, that we don't get the touchdown for that, that's jarring you and scaring you a little bit.
So the Chicago Force will take over inside DC territory to start their first drive at the 44-yard line, led by Rasan Gore. Force quarterback. She's thrown 27 of 54, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, but it's her feet that have done a lot of the work this season. 60 carries, 683 yards. That leads the WFA, 683. She also has 14 rushing touchdowns. That leads the league. First down and 10 for the Force. They'll be moving left to right here in the first quarter.
Welcome to the field, Jay Gray.
Didn't take long. From the 44, the Force will look over to the sideline. Head coach / offensive coordinator John Konecki calls out the play. Gore moves Van Hayden to her right, gives her the handoff. Try to cut outside, still on her feet. Spin move, maybe gained a yard to the 43-yard line. Emma Van Hayden, that was her 62nd carry of the season. She has 3 rushing touchdowns, but a gain of 1 on first down as the Force come up quickly to the line.
Great blocking there by Cat Converse, actually. There were some pulling guards from the near side that opened the holes up on the left, but it was Cat Converse action to the second level that gave Vander Hayden the room to spin.
Gore will fake it, now try to throw it to the far side, incomplete. Leanne Blesky was the intended receiver.
It's too bad that we didn't make that one happen. It would have been nice to get that nailed down here in the beginning of the game to get comfortable in the passing game.
So now the Force have their own 3rd and long. It's 3rd and 9 from DC's 43-yard line. 12:52 to go first quarter, no score. Force moving left to right. Gore in the gun. Has a back to her right. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right on 3rd and long. Gore has time to throw. Throws a little bubble screen out to Gray. Caught. Not much there, though. Good defense from DC as Devon Goldsmith got in there. And it's 4th and long, 4th and 8. We've seen both teams try to put the ball in the air a little bit. The defenses have held so far, and looks like Chicago's going to go for it. This is 4th down. Now we're going to have a timeout.
Yeah.
Early timeout from head coach John Konecki. It should be 4th down and 8. Or they have, yeah, it is 4th down and 8. Down at the 42. So we'll see what the Force want to do early. We have 12:21 to go in the game. In the first quarter, excuse me.
Doesn't surprise me to see Coach Konecki considering a 4th down offensive play. I mean, with the defense that Chicago has had this year, and I mean the rigidity that they've shown, I know that he would like to see us to be aggressive and to get ahead in the first quarter here.
Gives me a chance to talk about one of our great sponsors. That sponsor would be Athletico. There's nothing better than feeling your best. Athletico can get you there. You have a choice when you have an injury. When your doctor recommends physical therapy, tell them you want the best. Athletico has over 330 locations that offer complimentary injury screenings. For more information, visit athletico.com or call 1-877-ATHLETICO. Athletico, the official provider of physical therapy and athletic training for the Chicago Force. So on 4th and 8, the Force will go for it. It's Gore in the gun. It's a bunch formation. Have a receiver to the left, now in motion. Hand off to Zoe Barnett to the near side. She tries to cut back up, and she's taken down. Not enough for the first down. She gained a yard, and the DC Divas defense holds. They'll get the ball back.
Yeah, great job by DC there moving laterally along the line of scrimmage. I mean, Zoe Barnett, they followed the jet motion. Clearly, they've watched the film from last week when we ran that play about 900 times. But it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to find out if that's Coach Konecki's token to them of, yep, this is the play that you saw last week. We've run it a million times. We've been very successful. Could be a little bit of a test to sort of see what the one-on-one nature is going to be. But I definitely think it's a precursor to what he wants to do down the road. It's a trick.
We knew it would be physical. It's been physical so far as DC takes over at their own 41-yard line. No score. Hamlin under center. I formation for the Divas. Hand off to Grigsby. Up the middle, now cuts outside. Good blocking, past midfield. Still on her feet on the near side, and she's pushed out of bounds. Not before a nice gain on first down. A gain of 13, and it's going to be another first down for DC inside Force territory.
Great blocking by the Washington outside receivers on that play. I mean, something we have to communicate to you guys that are not here in person is the size disadvantage that Chicago is giving up from a wide receiver corner standpoint. I mean, Dorian Bridges is playing on the near side corner and is giving up 6 inches, 8 inches to the Washington wide receiver.
Divas moving right to left again. Hand off Grigsby. Right up the middle. Able to break through. Gets down to the 35-yard line, just outside the left hash mark. You can see Kenyatta Grigsby trying to get going in here. Another first down for DC.
That play was stopped there by Carolyn Leaves playing safety on this play. Coach Coleman was telling me that she was one of the most valuable defensive assets this year, that she had made the transition from the offensive side of the ball and was really bringing so much football experience and just so much guts to the defense this year.
At the 35 of Chicago, DC driving on 1st and 10. 3 wide outs. The Force come off sides. They had some contact, so it will be a 5-yard penalty on Chicago. I don't know if Hamlin's using a hard count, but we've seen it now a couple times. The Force defensive line has come over the line.
Absolutely. I mean, this is kind of one of the things that, again, Coach Konecki was talking about in the pregame, that the Force was very successful at last week, was they were disciplined and they simply executed, and there were not a lot of mistakes. We've seen this 2 times, once in each in the first 2 series. We've got to watch those kinds of things. We cannot give away 5 yards.
Now the ball at the 30 for 1st and 5. Hamlin calls out the signals.
Again.
Hands it to Grigsby again. Hesitation at the line, and it breaks through. Right up the middle. Past the 25, down to the 22-yard line. Kenyatta Grigsby doing a lot of the work for DC. It's going to bring up another first down for the Divas.
There's a great block by DC player number 7, Okima Pickett. I mean, she did a great job of just taking her offensive lineman, just a pancake block down to the ground, which opened up the hole for the running back.
10:47 to go, first quarter. Still no score, but DC's knocking at the door. 1st and 10 from the 22. Hamlin looks over the defense in the eye, gives it to Grigsby again. She's
great.
stuffed right at the line of scrimmage, nothing there. This time for DC. Getting in there was Kim Marks, one other Force player in there, and again, that's where it's going to be the Force have to take advantage. You got to have that first down where DC's not able to get a lot of positive yards. That time, Kim Marks was able to make the stop on Grigsby.
Yeah, it's going to be important for the Force defense to put the DC offense in these long yardage situations, especially early on in downs, to keep the first 1 or 2 downs into 1 or 2 yard gains so that they're forced into a pass play in the 3rd down. And what you saw on that play actually was it was the perfect defensive call against that offense. We were stacked up on the far side. We had a little bit of a gap depending on the linebackers to fill on the near side. The play ran far, and we were able to stuff it.
No yardage on first down. It's 2nd and 10.
Play.
Hamlin, play action,
Ooh,
throw
wow.
it near side, caught, touchdown. Risen not from 22 yards out from Hamlin, and DC takes the lead, 6-0.
Yep. You see DC target Jamie Fornell again on the corner there, and the Washington receiver was just able to get some distance. Hamlin found her. She was wide open.
Ashley Wisenot, the touchdown pass. That's her 5th receiving touchdown of the season on the near side from 22 yards out. Stephanie Nealis in for the PAT. She's 19 of 21 this season.
Nice. I think we're going to see one of 2 games here today. Could be a score fest, or it's going to be a shutdown, low-scoring game. There's going to be no in between. It's going to go one way or the other.
Hamlin with a perfect pass to Wisenot on the near side. Nealis, the PAT up, and the kick is no good.
No good.
Off to the right. I don't know what signal they're calling that, but in American football, we go like this with the arms crossed, but no good. But after the PAT missed, 9:45 to go, 6-0 DC. See what Chicago can do on this next drive.
That's interesting. That was a miss. You're just quoting, the very successful stats for the Washington, D.C. kicker this season, and for her to miss that one. And, that's crazy.
So from 22 yards out, Hamlin finds Wisenot. PAT no good. So it's DC 6-0 here with 9:45 to go in the first quarter. It's so windy that Tricia Charbonneau just had to go outside the booth and get my little chart. My chart flew out.
That's crazy.
That's not good. It just tells you a little bit of how much wind is in not just in the press box, but in this game.
Gosh, if you think of disasters that could happen, that's kind of one of them.
That's one of the big ones. When the play-by-play guy doesn't have his chart, that's not good. Again, Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau. On Twitter, I'm at A Garcia in Sports in Sharby.
Yeah, I'm at T Sharp 79. We'd love to hear from the fans. That's something we've been trying to cultivate this year, is a little bit more interaction from a social media standpoint, and even from the people watching, they're commenting online. We'd love to get some feedback from you guys on the broadcast, and also, ask some questions. We'd love to answer those on air.
So back deep, Chicago on the kickoff will be Cassie Brick and Jamie Fornell.
This is a little dangerous if you are Washington. Cassie, Brick.
Well, let's see what they want to do on this kickoff. Let's see if they kick it deep.
Yeah, they've got the wind.
They do. So they'll kick it off from the 35. Nealis
Oh, yeah.
puts her right foot to the ball. Nice high end over end kick. Brick catches it at the 18. Moves forward to the 25, to the 30. Great blocking at the 40. 45 past midfield. Now she's going to use her speed to the 40. Stiff arm to the 35, near sideline, and push out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Not before a nice kickoff return for Cassie Brick. She's finally pushed out of bounds by Kucheria Johnson. But Cassie Brick, you talked about her. She can be explosive.
Yep.
We saw it there.
That's what we needed. And I mean, when you're, I think after her last punt return, called back because of the holding, the message on the sideline over there should have been, hey, we're all special teams and we have Cassie Brick. You guys, the other 10 of you, don't screw it up. Block your person and let's let this girl run.
So Chicago's down by 6. 6-0. 9:32 to go first quarter. See what the Force can do on this drive as Gore's in the gun. Has 3 receivers to the left. Little screen out to Vandenhater. Caught at the 32. Cuts inside at the 30. Still on her feet down to the 25 on the far side. We got a flag on the play.
Holding.
Vanderhayden got the little bubble screen. No, screen coming out of the backfield more.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. There was a nice screenplay that Vanderhayden was very open for, but it looked like the slot receiver on that side was pretty heavily engaged in blocking, and it should be a holding call.
Yeah.
But nice to see a nice crisp pass from Rasan Gore over to Vanderhayden, who had been in motion. So it would be nice to see us, get this train moving a little bit.
The Zebras are going to call off the flag.
Oh, good.
No penalty.
All right.
So it's second down and 6. Ball's at the 25. Getting Gore in the gun. Looking to throw. Far sideline, it's Jeanette Gray. She cuts up to the 20. Tripped up past the 20-yard line. Down to the 19. A little bubble screen out to Jay Gray. Jeanette Gray.
Looked like a very good tackle there by, Kiana Ford. Really coming up big there, stopping Jay Gray from going along. She was coming from the far side of the field.
Enough for the first down. So Chicago is knocking on the door on this drive. They're down 6-0. Gore waits for the snap in the gun. She's got Vanderhayden on her right hip. She'll hand it off to Vanderhayden. Cuts back inside. 15, 10, cuts back out. Left hash mark down inside the 5-yard line. Emma Vandenhater just kind of moving around, trying to find the open space. Got inside, another first down, and Chicago now will have first down and goal to go.
There was a great play by Rasan Gore right there. First of all, she was very patient with reading the defense appropriately and deciding whether to keep the ball or hand it off. Gives it to Vanderhayden, who did a great job of negotiating the ins and outs of the wash there.
On first and goal at the 4, Cassie Brick gets a handoff, and she's stuffed. On the tackle, Kiana Ford and also Devon Goldsmith get in. Loss on the play. It's going to push the Force back out a little bit. Back to the 8. A loss of 4 on the play.
Coach Konecki had not been doing a lot of substitution in the running back position. Very frequently throughout the season, we see him substitute a one-for-one rhythm of running backs, and he really stuck with Emma Vanderhayden on that drive to give her some momentum. We got Cassie Brick back here now.
On 2nd and 8, handoff. Brick right up the middle. Pushes forward inside the 5, down to the 4. Goldsmith's in on the tackle. Also in on the tackle that time was Whitney Sims. Again, fast pace here. On 3rd and goal. They're going to call her down at the 5. So it's 3rd and goal from the 5. Force trying to tie it up. You got 5 receivers, 3 to the near side. The snap, fakes the handoff. Going right up the middle, we've got a flag. Gore gets in for the touchdown, but we got flags on the play.
Yeah.
Gore faked the handoff at the 5, took it right up the middle, got into the end zone, but we've got 2 or 3 flags.
Another great play by Rasan Gore, though, right there. She's doing a great job of reading the defense appropriately. Anybody that's been subscribing to the Chicago Force magazine that read the article about she and Jamie Fornell and Cassie Brick knows that the mental acumen of the game and her ability to read defenses is something that she's really been working on with Coach Konecki, and it's definitely paying off. You're seeing the fruits here.
The Zebras are talking things over.
Again.
discussing what the call is here. It was 3rd and goal at the 5 for Chicago. We have 7:41 to go in the first quarter. The DC Divas have the 6-0 lead. They're the reigning champs of the WFA. They beat the Force last season in the conference championship by a score of 43-24. But Chicago has them here in Chicago this season. We'll see what this call is. They're putting the ball down. Now we get a hold on Chicago. This is a huge penalty.
Yeah.
Dead ball. Penalty on DC, though. So they're going to offset, and we're going to go 3rd down and goal at the 5.
It's been a sort of odd start to this game a little bit. Like, there's been a lot of official conferencing and not a whole lot of clarity on what's been happening.
I'm going to say that it's going to be at the 6. So it's 3rd and goal at the 6. DC's looking for another stop. Chicago's looking to get on the board. Gore will be back in the gun. Again, 3 wideouts, 3 to the near side, 2 to the far. On the far side, it's Cassie Brick and Jeanette Gray. Chicago will spread it out. The officials still kind of setting up everything. Now the officials are going to come to the near sideline and talk to the coaching staff of DC. And I believe they're talking to the defensive coordinator, Willie Bennett. I think we're just trying to get everything set up. So it's 3rd and goal again. Now we're ready from the 6. 5 wideouts for Chicago, moving left to right. Bricks in motion. Fake handoff, Gore. Trying to make something happen, tries to get to the left hash mark. She's taken down hard. She may have gone back to the line of scrimmage. DC has not been fooled too much on that fake handoff.
No. And they're really depending on Rachel to make Rasan to make the right decision there. But on that particular play, the DC defense did a great job of following the ball and being very disciplined.
So it's now his 4th down.
So we're seeing a switch of the offensive set. Coach Konecki is bringing in the Rambo lineup, which is, let's just say, some of our beefier group.
Well, this is going to happen at the 6. So it's 4th and goal, Chicago at the 6. Jumbo formation. Gore's in the gun. Has a snap. Gives the handoff to Tamika Robinson. Trying to get to the outside on the far wing. Push out of bounds at the 3-yard line, so the Force cannot get in.
It's a big down right here. There was a chance. Kelsey Casey.
Well, now it's 3rd down now.
Yeah, we got to get it in here. I think it's important for us to answer.
I don't know what's going on in the downs, though. Now it's 3rd and goal. So my apologies, 3rd and 4, as Gore gives a handoff to Cassie Brick. She's going to break inside and cuts it into the touchdown. My apologies on the loss of downs. But on 3rd down and 3 from the 3, Cassie Brick gets in, and we've tied up 6-6.
I like this personnel group. It's the heavy set that we've got, which has some significant size in the backfield that's giving us the opportunity to really make some holes in the offensive line.
A 3-yard touchdown run for Cassie Brick. It's her first touchdown of the season in her first game.
Coach Konecki's choosing to go for the extra point here rather than go for 2.
Kelly Rear 2 of 5 for PATs this season. The hold, the kick is up, and the kick is good. So with that PAT, we have a new score. 6:40 to go in the first quarter. Chicago has taken the 7-6 lead here over the DC Divas. And again, my apologies because I thought it was 4th down, but with all the penalties, different downs, that was 3rd down, they score. We have right now 129 people watching online.
Yeah, that's great.
Watching us from Czech Republic, Australia, London, Chicago, Kentucky. Hopefully you're listening online, WJOB1230.com. Listen on the radio. Christina Cortez doing a great job. We want to thank Chuck Pullen and all the guys with the video broadcast. It's been great so far, and been a good game so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been good to see the teams. I feel like they're playing a very evenly matched game and they're executing well. So DC is a little different kick receive setup here. We're in the 5-3-2-1. So let's see where the Chicago Force kickoff is.
Rear boots it with the right foot. Comes up, caught at the 32. Tries to get some positive yards. Still on their feet to the near side. And that's Amanda Kungialdi.
Rare missed tackle there by Alicia Oakrey, but I thought she had her by the shoestrings there, but held her up enough to let the rest of the defense coverage team get down there.
Amanda Kanji Aldi was her 5th return of the season. Got up to the 42-yard line, so that's where DC will take over. With 6:33 to go, first quarter. DC down by 1, 7-6 to Chicago. Again in the eye, Allison Hamlin already has a touchdown pass today to Ashley Wizenot. This time the handoff to Grigsby.
Ooh, great tackle.
Shoestring tackle. Looked like Grigsby was going to get more on that carry, but Mary Chules came up from her linebacker position and had a terrific stand and it just kind of held her there until more of her teammates come over. It was a gain of 2. Could have been a lot more. Second down and 8.
Tons, a lot more. I mean, to see Mary Chules, and I mean, when you look at her, the matchup there with she and Grigsby, I know you think Mary's given up like 40 pounds probably. I mean, great job by Mary, low tackling, and just a ton of effort right there.
We got Chuck Poland directing. We've got Jeff Corey, Rob Cantu on camera for our video stream today on second down and 8. Hamlin looking to throw. Far side. Has a receiver a little bit too high, and the flag comes out. We're going to get pass interference.
Yeah, Dorian Bridges made a jump there towards the end of the play to actually deflect the ball. That maybe was a little unnecessary, but simply some aggression.
Shaquanda Gainey was the intended receiver on the far side, trying to go deep, and they're going to get the penalty. And DC will move into forced territory.
I'm not so sure that I think that that was a totally catchable ball. I mean, it seemed like maybe the pass was a little deep, but that's an unfortunate penalty. Again, we were talking earlier, a key to the force winning this game is not giving anything away. This kind of penalty is not something we can afford.
So that will move the ball down to the 41-yard line.
We've got a defensive substitution here. Rasan Gore's playing corner now.
I think Coach Konecki kind of sees what's going on in the outside, where DC's trying to take advantage of the height and the speed of their receivers. And you're correct. On the far side, it's Gore.
Jamie Fornell's back at safety.
1st and 10. Handoff Grigsby. She stood up right at the line. Not much though. Yep, Kelsey Casey's in there. Kim Marks got her hands in there. A gain of 1, maybe a half of a yard, so we'll call it second down and 9. The ball is being marked right between the 41 and 42-yard line of Chicago. With 5:25 to go first quarter, the Force have the 7-6 lead over the DC Divas.
Coach Coleman was talking a lot about Kelsey Casey's motor in the pregame conversations that we had, just talking about what a fire and a motivation that she brings to that defense and what an aggressive player she is.
On 2nd and 9, Hamlin. Looking to throw. Has a receiver caught. It's 85. That's Katrina Wilson. Then she's sandwiched right in the middle of the field, but a nice throw from Hamlin. And it's just enough for a first down. Down to the 31-yard line. Good hands from Katrina Wilson on the catch.
That was a great Chicago Force defensive play still. I mean, the coverage was really good. They had actually a couple of crossing routes with the outside receiver doing an inside slant and the inside receiver was doing a post to the outside. So it was a little confusing from the defense. But the pressure coming up the middle to force Hamlin to make that throw was right on.
I can tell you right now, the wind is not blowing much either.
Yeah, thankfully.
Sharpie, so the wind's not a factor. It is in the favor of DC on this quarter as well. Ball at the 31. First
running play.
And 10. Handoff Grigsby.
Great.
And stood up. And again, Mary Chules or Kelsey Casey? It's Kelsey Casey who got in there.
Coming through on a blitz.
She's had a strong season so far. She continues the strong play. Last week, 4 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. She has a sack this season. Comes up and makes a great play on that running game.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey's doing a great job and wonderful. I mean, couldn't be a more perfect play call from Coach Coleman there to bring her through that B gap and really meet the runner behind the line of scrimmage.
Loss of 3. 2nd and 12 back at the 24.
It's good to see the defense having some success like this, some creative play calling by Coach Coleman, not just sitting there waiting to see what Washington has to offer. They're going out and being aggressive.
I formation again. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Grigsby, the back. Not going to run it this time. It's going to be a Hamlin throw to Wizenot on the left side, caught. Went in the air to grab it. She's down at the 10-yard line. What a catch. This time from Ashley Wizenot. That ball was just a little bit overthrown, but Wizenot went up in the air, full reach, grabbed it, first down, and DC knocking at the door again.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, taking advantage of there's something going on over on the near side corner coverage here. We've got Rasan Gorin now doing that, and that seems to be where Allison Hamlin's looking. acrobatic catch there. She really went up for that.
You know, Wisenhunt can really make the acrobatic catch. She
Yeah.
showed it there. So it's first down at the 11. Hamlin under center. And
Ooh.
again, motion on that force D line. The flag comes out, and this one's going to be on Chicago. So now some penalties racking up against this force defense. A huge pass interference call on this drive has helped DC.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Hamlin must be using a very hard count down there in the line of scrimmage because there was no movement on the DC offensive line to draw the Chicago Force defense, and it was, 3 or 4 of them. It wasn't just one person. Discipline, discipline.
The ball is marked at the 6. DC can get a first down without a touchdown. It's first down and 5. Handoff, Grigsby.
Marks.
Moves to her right, but the D line for Chicago just kind of stands her up. And again, Kim Marks, as you mentioned, able to get on the tackle. No gain. It'll be second down.
It's great to see Kim Marks working through there. She's lined up in the A gap and really actually goes to the B gap to beat the right guard. Really no contest there. Great job by Marks. This is a matchup that she should be successful with all day. The person that she's going up against, she should be much, much, much faster than.
So it's second down and 5. Hamlin under center. Steps back. Here's that drop. Looking to throw wide open. It's Wisenhunt. She had beaten the defender that time, Gore. And the touchdown on the near side is good. 2 touchdown passes for Allison Hamlin. And DC has taken the lead back. It's now 12-7.
Man, that was just a misread by the corner on that play. I mean, that was a passing play all the way. And when we, peeked up to see the ball in the air, the Chicago Force corner was actually running in like it was going to be a running play.
The PAT is up, and the PAT is good. So with 2:10 to go in the first quarter, 2 touchdown passes, Hamlin, the Wisenhunt. First one was from 22 yards out, this one from 6 yards out. And DC has taken the lead back. After the PAT, it's now 13-7 DC.
So it'll be interesting to see. It's something to watch as we move forward here is DC is striking with the passing game. That's where they're taking advantage. That's where the pass interference call clearly came. They gave them big yardage there. We had at least 2, if not 3 plays on that particular drive where the Chicago Force coverage on the near side corner left the receivers open to make big plays. That's something Coach Coleman and Coach Konecki are going to have to take a look at.
So Stephanie Nealis getting ready for the kick. DC will kick it right to left. And it looked like a double move where Wisenhunt moved on Gore. May cut to the cut inside and went to the outside on the near end zone. And it was all over there. An easy pitch and catch.
I think if you're the Washington special teams coach, you're saying to the kicker, don't kick it to Gore. To Cassie Brick. Whatever you do, pick someone else. Anyone else, do not kick it to her.
So Nealis is going to need some help. They're going to have someone hold it with the wind, which has not been that much of a factor for DC in that first quarter. They have 2 touchdown passes.
Wind behind them.
Nealis kicks it away. High end over and kick to the far side. Caught at the 30, up to the 35, 40, 45, past midfield. Still on her feet, gets down inside DC territory. And this one caught by, for the Chicago Force, Kelly Moore.
Yep. Great play. She looked like she ran a lot of confidence there. She was a little upright, but definitely was trucking through, knew where she needed to go, knew where the blockers was going to be, and a real successful carry for her there. That's good to see as the special teams, the Force haven't had a lot of practice in kick receive this season.
But they have had the advantage today.
Yeah.
Where we saw Cassie Brick have a nice return, had a punt return that took it to the house, but a penalty was called.
Yeah.
On the last one, Cassie Brick got it down far for Chicago. And this one, you have Kelly Moore. So the Force start at DC's 45. Gore fakes the handoff, moves to her left, now cuts inside, gets to the 45, cuts back at the left hash mark, gain of 2. They're going to call her down at the 43-yard line, so it'll bring up second down and 8. Not a lot there so far for Gore on the misdirection on the fake handoffs and then taking it on herself. It's just not been a lot there. DC's done a good job.
They're definitely not falling for that, but I think Rasan's doing a great job of making the appropriate read. And again, so much of this is just That's a bummer.
And
Gotta get
that's
the ball.
and that's a backwards pass. So Brick's got to go back and pick it up.
Yeah.
As Gore tried to use a little screen to the near side to Brick, but it was a backwards pass. If that doesn't sound familiar or look familiar, that's the type of pass that was the turnover in the conference championship game that DC picked it up and got the turnover and stopped Chicago from getting back and getting the lead. So a huge loss. Back to their own 40.
All right, so now we're forced into a passing situation into the wind. We've got Jay Gray in, Jamie Fornall. Looks like we've got Kelly Moore, and
it's 3rd and 25, back at their own 40. Under a minute to go here in the first quarter. DC has a 13-7 lead. Gore gets the shotgun snap. Little screen to the far side. It's caught by Brick. Has some blockers, but a good defensive tackle from behind by the leading tackler for DC. That's Tia Watkins. Comes from behind, makes the tackle, and this time the Force is going to have to punt.
what we saw in that play was that although the pass, the little screen pass to Cassie was successful, she definitely had 3 Chicago Force players out in front blocking for her, but the margin between the blockers and Cassie was too far. It was 3 or 4 yards. If in order to get any effectiveness for that blocking line, she needs to be a yard or 2 behind them, close enough to put her hand on them and direct them where she wants them to go. Otherwise, the DC linebackers, like they did on that play, will sneak in and tackle from the backside.
Jamie Fornall will punt it away.
Great
it's her
punt.
3rd punt of the season. Takes a force
Don't touch it.
bounce, and this one's going to be being marked inside the 20-yard line, and that's going to end the first quarter. We played the first 15 minutes. DC has 2 passing touchdowns. Cassie Brick has a 3-yard touchdown for Chicago. We'll come back with the second quarter. It's the DC Divas 13, Chicago 7. We'll take a 1-minute timeout. 1-minute timeout as you're listening to Chicago Force Football on AM 1230 WJOB.
Behind the red, ladies!
Good job.
Good work, D. I don't know where the fuck to go.
About to start the second quarter here. Lane Tech Stadium, Lane Tech High School, downtown Chicago. Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau. We start the second quarter. One of the top matchups in women's tackle football. The DC Divas have the 13-7 lead, and DC hands it off to Grigsby. From the 18-yard line, cuts out far side, gets past the 30-yard line. Nice gain for Kenyetta Grigsby. She's taken down by Carolyn Lee, but not before she gets a first down out to the 32. Quickly, Sharby, what you saw in that first quarter as DC right now leads by 6.
Well, I think the couple of big keys to that quarter were, number one, Chicago Force defense giving up yardage that they can't afford to give. I mean, that's a huge one. And I think, as you were saying, on the offensive side of the ball, Chicago's not really benefiting from the sort of lack of discipline from DC, i.e. The fakes that we're running, the sort of trick plays we're trying to make happen here. DC's not falling for.
On 1st and 10 from the 32, it's Grigsby up the left hash mark. Past the 40-yard line. Good blocking from the offensive line from DC, opening up holes for Grigsby. Another first down. We saw what happened in the conference championship where DC was able to run for 348 yards.
Yep.
They've continued to be able to run against Chicago on 1st and 10, up to the 42.
Got late coverage on the near side here.
Again, a handoff to Grigsby. on the far sideline, tiptoeing past midfield. We got a flag, though. She got inside the 45 on the far side. We're going to get a penalty. This might be a hold on DC. We've seen what penalties have done for Chicago. It's been costly. We'll see what this one is. This one looks to be on the Divas.
Yeah. The Chicago Fort defense right now, I mean, this is the time we got to start stepping up, and this has to be a man-on-man battle, especially on a running play. You don't have that X factor of the ball being in the air and trying to take care of that. This is a go and do your job kind of scenario. Make the reads and beat the person opposite you. We're getting really abused on the edge right now.
Face mask call on DC. It's going to be 15 yards. Pushes them back to the 37-yard line. That's a huge penalty. It's going to bring up 1st and 15.
All right, this is important on the pass coverage here. We got a terrible mismatch right here. We got Alicia Okray on the DC player. I mean, she's giving up a foot right here.
Hamlin's
Yep,
looking
on
to
the
throw
out
that
route.
way.
Oh,
It's
great
another
job.
pressure and a sack. The sack from Kim Marks. She got inside. Hamlin looked like she had time, but that hole just kind of collapsed quickly.
Yep.
Kim Marks able to get inside. That's her 3rd sack of the season.
Oh, we needed that to happen. I mean, there was Hamlin was looking here on the slot receiver who was running an out route. That was Washington from DC, and she was being covered by Alicia Okray. That was not going to be a good play. Thank goodness for Kim Marks right there.
A loss of 6. The ball back at the 31. So it's 2nd down and 21. We start the 2nd quarter. DC has the 13-7 lead. This time Hamlin's in the gun. She's got Grigsby to her left. 2 receivers each side.
Be nice to see Angel Smith here.
Hamlin has time, looking to throw. Far sideline.
Great.
And the ball was short.
Yep.
The receiver tried to come back to the ball with just a tough pass to catch. Incomplete. It's going to bring up 3rd down and long for DC. Hamlin has got some time, though. She's looking over the defense, able to spot what she wants to do.
Yeah.
And again, on that one, just kind of came up short.
I think she's also depending on the quality of her receivers and these mismatches that we're talking about in size to give the receivers the opportunity to make the play. Like she's, trusting them in order to go out and do that. But, you saw Angel Smith come in there. We're getting a lot of hits on the quarterback, which I like as well. You got to keep out the pressure.
From the 31, it's 3rd and 21.
Big down.
For DC. They'll spread it out. 4 wideouts. Grigsby in the backfield with Hamlin. They're in the pistol.
Bad matchup here again. 86 on Carolyn Lee.
Hamlin looking to throw again. Under pressure.
Come on,
able to
Menzies.
get to the outside. She's just going to run, try to get some positive yards. She's pushed out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Again, that pocket collapsed quickly on Hamlin. She just had to escape, try to get something. And it's going to bring up 4th down and long. And we're going to see DC punt. So Chicago gets a stand on defense. 12:44 to go 2nd quarter. DC has the 13-7 lead.
I think the Chicago defense should be very proud of that particular series. To create the deficit in yardage that DC was going to need to overcome. I mean, that's a good test for them to be able to say, hey, you guys are going to have to overcome some of these challenges as well.
Cassie Brick back deep. She's kind of standing at the 34-yard line of Chicago. Nealis will punt it away on 4th and long. Slow snap. It bobbled. She picks it up and kicks it. It's a bad punt.
Get away, get away,
It goes
get away.
straight up in the wind. It's going to take a forced bounce. It's bouncing in the direction of Chicago once, and Nealis just kind of has to kneel on it.
Yep.
No pun intended. That punt was a negative punt.
Yep.
Chicago's going to take over at the 27 or 26-yard line of DC. So, again, special teams coming up big.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know if I ever told you, Annie, that's how I got my job as the punter. Was the punter before me punted in one game 3 times negative, and they were like, is there anyone else? Linda grabbed me and sent me in.
So they're going to say this is coming from the 27. Going the gun. Hands off to Barnett. Zoe Barnett from Australia. Her 2nd game with Chicago. She cuts inside. Past the 35 down to the 34. Call it the 33. Zoe Barnett can be explosive. She's got speed. She tried to cut her way, juke and jive her way on that first carry here on 1st down.
It'll be interesting to speak with the Australian players after today's game and see what the contrast is between last week and this week.
This time another handoff. Barnett up the middle.
Tentative.
Maybe it got to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Too tentative there.
No gain, so it's going to bring up 3rd and 5. The ball is marked at the 23-yard line. Force moving right to left, trying to take the lead back here in the 2nd quarter. DC leads 13-7.
This is a big play here. We need to take advantage of the defensive opportunity here and get another 1st down.
3rd and 5. Fakes the handoff. Gore up the middle, and just nothing there.
Yeah.
This time it was Danae Walker who got it on Gore and didn't let her go. Ball back to the 25. So it's going to bring up 4th and 7.
Yeah, I think that's a tough play call right there. I mean, we're spread out. We don't have anybody in the backfield. We're running the jet motion to the one side, which allows a one-on-one, man-to-man coverage from the Washington defense, and that's a tough play. You're assigned one person, and all you got to do is watch for them.
We'll see what the Force want to do on 4th and 7. They'll go for it. From DC's 25, it's Gore. Throwing deep. Near side, incomplete. The receiver that Gore was trying to go to was Fornell, but it was more of Janiah Davis having her hands on the ball, incomplete. So again, Chicago turns it over. They get deep in the DC territory, can't do nothing with it, and it's a stop again for the Divas as they control the game right now with the 6-point lead.
Too bad that's a missed opportunity there. It would have been a really confidence-building drive in order to have the defense take such a stand and then have the offense take advantage of that and try and even up the score here.
You can hear the wind in our microphones just a bit.
Yeah, we keep talking about the wind's on, the wind's off, the wind's on, the wind's off.
You know what I like, though? The heater we have on here in the booth. That helps. So DC takes over at their own 25-yard line. It's Grisby with the handoff. Trying to get positive yardage. She just bowls her way forward. She had about 2 Force players just hanging on her. Gets a good couple yards. Gain of 3, make it 4 on 1st down. 2nd down and 6 at the 29-yard line.
She's having a great game so far. I mean, the first half has really been very successful for her. She's seeing a lot of opportunity, taking advantage of the holes, and really bulldozing through the Chicago Force defensive line.
And a great turnout. A lot of fans out for this one. One of the top games, women's tackle football this week. On 2nd and 6 from the 29. Hamlin gives it to Wizenut.
Great play call.
Wizenut with
Blocking
the
the
run
back.
to the far side. The flag
penalty,
is going to come out. Wizenut still on her feet.
She can keep running.
She might take it to the house. She's on the far side, and I think she knows that, and then she stepped out of bounds. Wizenut took the handoff from Hamlin, took it to the far side, and on the play, it was a block in the back, so this is going to come back.
Yeah, looks like Natalie Gaston, DC defense, blocking the back against Carolyn Lee. But, I mean, so thank goodness that DC shot themselves in the foot right there because we were very exposed on that far side of the field.
We have people watching in Barbados, London, Czech Republic, Kentucky, a place called Chicago.
One of the questions,
California?
the place called Chicago. One of the questions we've got up here is from Michael Weiser asking how many foreign players the Force has in this game. That's a very interesting topic for us to cover. We've got 3 Australian players, 1 Czech player, 1 Finnish player, and Dragsholt, right?
Yeah.
And trying to think of who else. There's probably 1 or 2 others that we're just forgetting at the moment.
So the ball's going to be brought back to the Divas 23-yard line. This is going to be a pitch to Grigsby. Coming to the near side, held up, not much there. Maybe a loss in the plays. Grigsby got the toss, tried to come to the near wing, and just nothing there. Good defense from Chicago on the bottom of the pile for the Force. Number 61.
It's Tracy Day, right?
Correct.
Yeah, nice.
Tracy Day, thank you.
That's good to see her. I think that's maybe the first time we've called her. It's perfect timing, actually, talking about the foreign players.
So Tracy Day, 61 on the play sheet.
Yep. This is her 2nd game with the Chicago Force, so it's good to see her making a difference.
Ball now at the 21 on 3rd and 14. A loss on that play. Hamlin looking to throw.
Come on.
Near side and a little bit short on the pass. Oakrey was defending on the near side, trying to get to the intended receiver, Callie Bronson. Incomplete. It hit Oakrey almost on the side.
Yeah.
Good defense from Oakrey.
She didn't turn and look for the ball, which is going to be a little bit of an issue moving forward. I mean, there's definitely a challenge happening right there, but great defense by Oakrey to be right on there on the chest of that receiver.
So again, Chicago stops DC. So it's 4th and 14. DC will punt it away. Brick is back at her own 45 for Chicago. Nealis, and again the punt. Her last punt was a negative punt. Went right in the air. This one's a little bit better. High
stay
kick.
away.
Pops
Get away,
up.
get away, get away.
Yeah, a couple Force players right there at midfield. Takes a DC bounce. and it's going to be down at Chicago's 46-yard line. So Chicago will start there. Hey, gives me a chance here during this broadcast to tell you, if you're around town, the post-game party is at Celtic Crown. All right, Celtic Crown, 4301 Northwestern Avenue, just 1 mile north of this stadium. Everyone's invited. Party starts right after the game. Again, Celtic Crown, 4301 Northwestern Avenue. Great sponsor.
It's a great sponsor. And, you know, the post-game party is such a great event. I mean, especially after a big win, but even after a very challenging game. It's really great to go there because it also gives the fans an opportunity to spend some time with the players and get to know them a little bit more.
On 1st and 10, we got a little bubble screen. The brick caught, gets up to the 49-yard line, and that's where she stood up. Goldsmith, Watkins, Kotsis, all on the tackle for DC.
Yeah, great job by the DC defense there, swarming to the ball. You know, that's a play that is familiar in the Chicago Force playbook and should be on the film of the DC Divas when they're scouting.
They're going to call a gain of 3, so 2nd down and 7. We have 8.5 to go before halftime. DC's got a 13-7 lead. Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau.
Force offense is back in the Rambo set.
So you've got almost 3 backs now. Tamika Robinson.
Oh, some confusion.
Yeah,
here,
Force are a little bit confused on this offensive play. So Coach Konecki calls his 2nd timeout. So let's do this. Let's take a 1-minute timeout. Christina Cortez back in the studios. 1-minute timeout. We'll come back. 8:15 to go 2nd quarter. DC Divas 13, Chicago 7. You're listening to Chicago Force Football on AM 1230 WJOB.
Come on, Zoe. Nice run.
Stand by. Coming out of the timeout, Zoe Barnett gets the jet sweep, able to move forward for a 1st down for Chicago. They're down to the 43-yard line of DC. 1st and 10. Gore, this handoff to Brick. Cuts inside, and a good tackle on the inside, right between the hash marks from Sivette Henson. Henson, one of the top tacklers for DC. Maybe a gain of 1. She got back to the line of scrimmage, so we'll call it 2nd and 10. At the 43 of DC, Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau. Women's tackle football. In the gun, it's Gore. Fakes the handoff. Now she's going to take it up the middle. Tries to cut outside at the left hash mark, inside the 40-yard line. Good gain, but still short for Chicago. So it's going to bring up 3rd and almost 5.
Important 3rd down play. This is one we got to get here. 5 yards. We need to get another 1st down. Keep this drive moving. It would be nice to score on this drive.
Substitutions coming for Chicago. They're going to change the package up. You got 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Gore alone in the gun. On 3rd and 5 at the 38 of DC. Gore fakes, goes up the middle on her own. Her feet will take her outside, near wing, pushed out of bounds. It's close to the 1st down. It could have been a late hit.
Oh,
it
nice.
is. A huge late hit. This one comes from Eris Woodard, who nailed Gore when she was out of bounds. It would have been close to a 1st down, but with the penalty, 15 yards is going to give Chicago an automatic 1st down.
That's what we need right there. I mean, Gore was like 2 yards, maybe 3 yards short of that 1st down and didn't quite get there. But, man, that play, nice to see DC make a mistake there to the Force's advantage.
A huge penalty from Woodard. We've seen penalties be a part of this game tonight.
Yeah.
As we have 6:47 to go, 2nd quarter. DC has a 13-7 lead. I got to mention Michael Burmeister. He's the owner of the 2017 WFA expansion, the Milwaukee Mystics. He's rooting on for future rivals tonight, so it's good to see some expansion coming to WFA. We'll talk more about that.
Absolutely.
As Chicago's got the ball at the 17. Gore hands it off to Barnett on the jet sweep. She cuts inside, has room, 5, and she's at the end zone. Did she get in? Her foot might have came down, her knee. No, they got in, touchdown.
All right.
From 17 yards out, Zoe Barnett on a jet sweep. Looked like she was going to cut on the far side, cut inside at the right hash.
Yep.
Got in, got tripped up, but she got into the end zone. And it's a touchdown for Chicago. And now we're tied up 13-13, PAT to come.
Man, that was a great job in the blocking on the right-hand side of the line of scrimmage. I mean, that was a huge hole. I mean, she had all the space in the world to get through there. Great play.
6:33 to go before the half.
We also saw Zoe Barnett's explosion and acceleration there. Oh, bad snap.
Bad snap on the PAT. Looking the throw. There's a force receiver and it's dropped. It was a great throw. The force couldn't make the catch. It was Kim Marks, the receiver, but the penalty's on DC. So Chicago has another chance at the PAT.
Oh, I mean, Carolyn Lee, like, is a jack of all trades.
Oh,
We're talking
my
about her
goodness.
playing offense, and she's playing defense. Now she's got the ball in her hands and hit Marks right in the chest.
Yeah, Carolyn Lee, the high snap on the PAT. So
Yeah.
Carolyn Lee was running to her right, looking to throw in. Marks was wide open in the end zone on the right side. Just couldn't make the catch. But the penalty was on DC.
I mean, I can't believe that she was able to shed one defender even. I mean, the call when you're in that situation and the snap is bad is everybody just starts yelling, fire, 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 fire. And you are just trying to get out of there.
So at the 1.5, Gore takes it her own. Fake
great.
the handoff and right up the middle. That's a huge 2-point PAT after the penalty. So it's 6:33 to go. It's now Chicago 15, DC 13.
Man, it'll be interesting to see how that comes into play as the game goes down to the wire here. I mean, the distance, the margin of 3 points, that could be a big factor to try and overcome as we get towards the end.
Gives me a chance to tell you a little bit more about another Chicago Force sponsor. And this one is DLG Management. Sponsors the Game Day MVP Award. Here at home games, they sponsor offensive, defensive player of the game. DLG Management, a huge sponsor of Chicago Force football. And Dave Gassman, who's from DLG Management, he did the toss today.
Yep, Dave's the D, the L, and the G of DLG Management, and he has been a Chicago Force sponsor, for the entire existence of our organization, and we're so thankful to have him. And his company, DLG Management, manages many properties in Chicago's north side, in the Boys Town and North Halstead neighborhood, up in Rogers Park. He's the guy to go to if you're looking for a place.
Yeah, DLG Management, as Kelly Rear kicked it off right to left to DC. The ball went out of bounds. So DC will have good field position.
That's tough. We've seen that coming from Kelly, and that's kind of the cardinal sin of kickoff. Is that when you kick the ball out of bounds, it comes to the 40-yard line, and she kind of has that tendency. I'd like to see that get corrected.
So as the kick goes out of bounds, DC will take over at their own 35-yard line. They're down by 2, 15-13. 6:33 to go. They're moving left to right here in the second quarter. Allison Hamlin already has 2 touchdown passes, both to Ashley Wizenot. She's going to give this one to Grigsby. Up the middle, held up by her jersey, and then she tried to move forward. Gain of 4 up to the 39, second down.
I think that's something that we can give as a Chicago Force defense. We're seeing Tammy Engelman here now in the middle of the field, number 91. It's good to see her in uniform and back on the field. That's what we need to do, is if we're holding Grigsby to 2 yards, 3 yards on a carry, we're going to survive that. It's the big open gaping holes we cannot give up.
DC, the traditional I formation. Hands to Grigsby, wide open on the far sideline. Breaks one tackle, past midfield, down to the 47-yard line. The hole was huge on the left side for DC, and Kenyetta Grigsby took advantage. Another first down for the Divas.
I mean, that's a tough play right there. And we got Jill Araki coming in, who had her wrapped up, went low. That's the way to tackle those big people, is, chop them down at the base. But you couldn't quite get it done there. Chicago Force is going to have to watch for that. We've been exposed on that flank play a couple times.
1st and 10. Hamlin yells out some directions. Gives the Grigsby right up the middle. Not much there. Maybe a gain of 1.
Yep.
You mentioned Kelsey Casey on the bottom of the pile. gain of 1 down to the 46-yard line, so second down and 9.
So the exposure on these outside plays where the running back's able to turn the corner of our defensive line, I wonder if we're simply getting, if there's a down block coming from an outside wide receiver, if we're going too far into the defensive backfield, which is opening up that hole. We're going to have to keep watching for that.
3 receivers set this time on second and 9. Hamlin looking to throw. Near side caught at the 39. Tackled at the 36. The catch made by Kentrina Wilson. Really a mismatch out there as Wilson had a lot of space, made the catch, and it's a first down for DC again at the 36. The nose of the football touching the 36 of Chicago. That's a nice pitch and catch. You can tell they've worked on that thousands of times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's definitely a great rhythm there. I mean, it's got to be nice for Hamlin to have a target like Wilson.
So again, first down. DC trying to get the lead back. They're down 15-13 to Chicago. 4:35 to go before the half. Ix Grigsby on the run to the far sideline. Cuts in. Tippy toes out line and goes out of bounds. She's tackled out there. Not before another big gain, though. Down to the 22-yard line of Chicago. Kenyetta Grigsby doing a lot of the damage for DC on the ground.
Is going too far into the backfield and outside, which is making this huge, huge hole. I mean, that's her defense responsibility, so we have to be looking for a linebacker coming into that gap. Somebody else has to be making their way in there.
This time the running back is Okima Pickett. Grigsby gets a rest on 1st and 10 from the 22. Hamlin with the hard count, gives to Pickett. Not much there. Good tackle from Chicago.
Tools.
Also in on the play was Jennifer Dolsky.
Oh, nice.
Jen Dolsky coming back, who was on DC last year, correct?
Boston?
Boston.
Yeah.
Correct. Boston.
Yeah.
My apologies.
That's right. Yeah.
I knew she was on one of the competitors.
Yeah, Jen was originally a Pittsburgh Passion player. Moved to Chicago. Was, of course, I can't remember the sequence because she's jostled around to more than one location. But
wherever she played,
yeah,
it was a 2-yard loss because of her tackle. 2nd and 12. Hamlin looking to throw. Middle of the field, caught inside the 10. Great catch between 2 defenders from Callie Brownson. And it's 1st and goal for DC, just a post route, and Hamlin found her.
And, I mean, we're seeing the DC offense really get into a rhythm here with the passing game. And, as effective as the Chicago defense has been this year, that is something they give up is size. We do not have a huge defense.
Remember, Chicago, coming into this game, had only given up 12 points all season. This is a step up, though, in a team. From the 6, 1st and goal, handoff Grigsby. To the left side, she's going to get in. Spins outside a tackle and gets the touchdown.
We had a defensive personnel group that was right at the point of attack there. Just some mistackling that allowed her to squeak through.
Grigsby with the rushing touchdown. Her 7th this season.
So, Andy, what do you think? If you're, just as you were saying, the Chicago Force has not had 12 points they've given up so far this season, right? I mean, what's it like to be a Chicago Force defensive player right now?
Bad snap, but the hole they're able to get it down. The kick is up and the kick is good. There is a flag on the play. The holder with a fantastic, just to get the ball down to get that kick off. And this penalty may come off on the kickoff. So DC gets the rushing touchdown from Kenyetta Grigsby. The PAT is good. And that makes it 18-15 DC Divas.
Again, there's a lot of conversation with the officiating crew here today.
We'll see, 20-15. My apologies on the score. So it's running into the kicker. That's going to be enforced on the kickoff. So again, the new score, 2:48 to play.
Looks like we had a personal foul on the DC team there, so the penalties have offset, Andy.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Penalties have been a huge part of tonight's game.
Yeah.
So 20-15. DC has a lead. They have the 5-point lead here late in the first half. We have 2:48 to go before the half.
Yeah. So I wonder if, part of the pregame prep here, especially for the defense, was, hey, it's unlikely that this is going to be a shutout. This is going to be a 12-round fight,
Correct.
guys. And you're going to have to bring it. We're not going to win every single round here, but you got to stay in the fight and you got to continue to battle, which I do actually hope would be a pretty significant message considering last year. I mean, in the National Conference Championship game, I mean, the force was down. They had the ability and scratched back and couldn't quite close it out. And I hope that they're feeling that and remembering that and will build upon that today.
So Grigsby gets the rushing touchdown. DC will kick it left or right. The ball comes off the tee. It's been a steady win throughout. This is going in the face of DC as they kick it off. 20-15 DC. Again, the Divas come in 3-1 into tonight's game. The Force undefeated, 4-0.
I got to think kicking this into the wind that it's not going to get much past the 30 here. So we should be looking at these two players here. Kelly Moore, it looks like.
I'm surprised that the Force are playing that far deep.
Yeah.
Nealis does kick it, though. And it is going to be Moore, picks it up at the 27, up to the 30, cuts inside midfield, 35, 40, 45 past midfield, down at the 49-yard line. So again, Kelly Moore gets her hands on the ball in special teams, able to make a nice play.
Yep.
They're going to mark her down, and those are the football right at the 50-yard line.
Yeah, she's doing a great job really running with some authority, knowing where she's going, trusting in the blocking, and breaking a tackle or two, taking a hit or two, and staying upright and making a difference here.
We've got Cassie Brick's aunt, Diane, tuning in from Toronto, Canada. We've got people watching from all over, listening from all over. So the Force have 50 yards to go. They're down by 5. Here's the jet sweep. No, the fake. Gore keeps it. Nothing there. A stop and a loss on the play. Henson got in there for DC. Also, seems to be in every tackle for DC, Tia Watkins. Loss of 3. Back to the 47. Second down and 13. The clock is running, 2:20 to go before the half. Divas have the 20-15 lead. Going the gun. Jet sweep. Barnett taken down for a loss. DC saw that play coming. And Cherie Marshall was not fooled.
Huh. That's interesting. That was a group of our Chicago Force offensive. It was the heavy set. We had Angel Smith was in on that. We had Leanne Blusky on the right-hand side there, left-hand side. That's a surprising turn right there that play wasn't successful.
Loss of 4, so it's now 3rd and 17 back at the Force 43. 4 receivers, 2 to each side. Gore looking to throw. Middle of the field, and Fornell and Gore just couldn't connect. The pass was behind Fornell. Incomplete. It's going to bring up 4th and long.
It's too bad she was open.
Yeah, she was open in the middle of the field, Fornell, but the pass getting too far behind her. So now Chicago will kick it away. Don't forget, Chicago will get the ball to start the second half, but DC will have about 90 seconds here to work with. Fornell's going to punt it away.
So she's got the wind. It would be nice to see them, near the 10. It'd give us a lot of cushion to close the half.
Wasn't not at her own 30. She already has 2 receiving touchdowns. It was a soft snap, gently.
Nice bounce. Keep going.
To Forno, but as you say, a forced bounce takes it out of bounds at the 19-yard line. That snap took forever to get the Forno.
Yeah.
But Forno was able to get it off with the right foot, took the forced bounce. So now DC's got 81 yards to go in 1:24, or they could take the field goal.
Yeah.
Stephanie Nealis does have a long field goal this season of 28.
Yeah, so that's definitely possible.
It's been a really interesting game so far.
A little tense, huh?
Physical play, turnovers have been, penalties.
Yeah.
And the running game has been huge for DC, but they also have gotten some passing too. They've got 2 touchdowns. Hamlin throwing the ball to Wisenot.
Yeah, absolutely balanced attack from DC. We knew that was going to happen. And, I mean, again, every time they come out in a passing set, we just can see where the mismatches occur.
So Wisenot is to the far side. You've got 3 receivers to the near. This time the handoff to Grigsby. She's cut off right in the backfield. Kim Marks able to get in the tackle for a loss.
great play call by Coach Coleman right there. I mean, really, I love how aggressive he's being, and he's
And that's
not sitting
Pickett.
back.
That's Pickett, the running back.
I mean, just right in there.
The Force have 1 timeout left, so the clock has gone under a minute here in the second quarter. If I'm DC, I take the lead right now. I don't know how many plays I want to get off.
Yeah.
Hamlin talking to the receivers on the near side. There's 3 of them.
It's a lot of space right there. That's what kind of freaks me out here.
Hamlin has time, looking to throw,
oh,
and then the
great
pocket
job.
collapses, and a sack for Kim Marks, who's had a huge first half.
Yep.
And now Coach Konecki running, trying to get the timeout. 32 seconds. And this is, again, where DC, where you could run the ball, let some of that clock run up, but now DC looks to throw. Now this one was a sack, so the clock continued to move, but it forces Chicago to take their last timeout, 32 seconds.
But you're totally right. I mean, that's the strategy. It's like, let's get into halftime with this 5-point lead. Let's run the clock out. I mean, and if you've watched Coach Konecki over time, you know that he will steal every single second that is available to him, especially this deep in their territory.
So a timeout.
3rd down here, Andy. You got to think they're going to run the ball in this play, right? I mean, there's no
You have
timeouts
to.
left. You got to run it.
Yeah, you've done what you can. You tried to make something happen. Nothing's been there. This quick timeout gives me a chance to talk about another sponsor for Chicago Force football, and that's Rayla and Associates. For 24 years, Rayla and Associates PC has assisted residential and commercial property owners to successfully appeal their taxes. Go to RaylaandAssociatesPC.com for assistance with tax relief. Again, RaylaandAssociatesPC.com. Rayla and Associates PC has been a big sponsor of Chicago Force football.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, if you're a Cook County resident, you know how important tax relief is.
Yeah, if you're watching from Toronto or Australia or Czech Republic, the taxes here are a little bit high. Here in
Especially
Chicago.
Cook County. Jeez.
So we're coming out of the timeout with 32 seconds to go before halftime. DC has a 5-point lead, 20-15. They're pinned back deep at their own 11. Now, Chicago does not have any timeouts, but DC takes one of their own. So a timeout. Oh, did they just run the ball?
I actually saw him take a knee, actually.
So they did.
Yeah.
My apologies. I looked down, and they just took the knee, which was smart.
Yes,
That's going to run the play out, and that's going to end the first half of play. So on the kneel down from DC, the scoring, 2 passing touchdowns from Allison Hamlin to Ashley Wizenot, one from 22 yards out, the other from 6 yards out. They also have a rushing touchdown from Kenyetta Grigsby. For Chicago, Cassie Brick has a 3-yard touchdown run. Zoe Barnett on a jet sweep from 17 yards out. That's the scoring, but through the first 30 minutes of play, it's DC with the 5-point lead, 20-15. Let's do this. Take a 3-minute timeout. 3-minute timeout. We'll come back in 3 minutes, talk about the first 30 minutes of action. Women's Football Alliance, women's tackle football, and it's the DC Divas that have the 5-point lead, 20-15 over the Force. We'll come back with some highlights from that first half. You're listening to Chicago Force football on AM 1230 WJOB.
My mom says
3 minutes, 11:16.
I just started wearing dresses recently, which, we've seen one about sitting like a cowboy.
Oh, it's right on the bench.
I'm working my way through it. I realized I never wore dresses because I thought
That's it.
if I dressed in a feminine way, people might not take me seriously enough. But I realized, no, that's pretty stupid. Dresses are the greatest equalizer women have ever been given. Because when I wear a pair of pants out to a bar, I cannot pee in an alley on my way home. But when I wear a dress, I can pee wherever I want, just like a man. It's just like that. I hope you're making noise because you guys cannot hear anything. It's like absolute purgatory out here. I don't mean to brag, but puberty did hit me like a rock. My kids are 16 years old. I'm only 26, so you do the math on that. And then get real bummed out because what's less cute than a 9-year-old with a teacup? I know I actually got some good news about my body recently. I found out that my health insurance has approved my request for a breast reduction, which you can make some noise for. It's very exciting. Also, pour one out. This is a great start we're losing. It's a disservice to us all. But my surgeon thinks I'm not taking the operation seriously enough. Mostly because I keep referring to it as an off-the-rack sale. But to be fair, we are taking 40% off my entire inventory. My doctor thinks he's real cute. He made a fun joke the other day. Because he does have a lot of appointments. He's cutting me up a lot. And I asked him why we needed so many powerful things. And he said, well, Sam, you want to measure twice and cut once. But gotta be honest, Doc, I was kind of hoping you were going to do them both. But if that's how Obamacare works, take the left one. Every parent has a favorite child, and mine just happens to be my right breast. And I feel like sometimes when I tell people about the operation, they're like, oh, elective surgery, you're unhappy with your body. And that's when I like to start chanting, slice and dice, slice and dice. Stay with me, slice and dice. Slice and dice. I hope you guys like that because they really hate it when I do that in the doctor's office living room. Being a tall woman is kind of a weird thing. I find that, especially with things like online reading where they ask for your height and your body type, doesn't always translate. For me, when you read my OpenSuper profile, it kind of sounds like someone's just announcing the stats of a pro wrestler. My dear Sam, she's 25, doing good cat eyes, riding her bike, and coming into the ring. 6'1", 220 pounds.
Cast tonight, Chuck Pullen doing a great job directing everything. Also, I got our cameramen, Jeff Corey and Rob Cantu, who are doing a great job. We hope everyone's listening and enjoying and watching the broadcast. Two of the top teams in women's tackle football. Again, NCAA football rules, women's tackle football. This is the Women's Football Alliance. We've got the 3-1 DC Divas holding on to a 5-point lead over the undefeated right now Chicago Force.
Yep.
5-point lead for DC. Sharby, what did you see? Your thoughts from that first half?
I think, it's kind of a stalemate sort of game, I guess, to sort of see it 2015. I mean, I know there's a 5-point differential there, but it's kind of a methodical game right now. And I think the only errors we've been seeing have been penalties, so they've been sort of outright. We haven't seen a lot of blown coverages and stuff like that. But DC has brought a very balanced attack to the game and had some success in the passing game. Chicago has not been able to get that kind of rally on the offensive side of the ball, and it seems a little truncated every single drive. They've missed a couple of opportunities here and there to take advantage of defensive stands. But I think they got to keep plugging away.
Let's talk about the DC Divas offense, because I came into the game talking about how balanced they like to be.
Yep.
We've seen that tonight, where we've seen Allison Hamlin throw 2 touchdown passes, both to Ashley Wizenot, but they also got the rushing touchdown from Kenyatta Grigsby. So it's been their main weapons doing the job that they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, so that's saying they're going with their bread and butter, and that's what the Force really needs to address. We've seen on the defensive side, when Grigsby is successful, it's holes up the middle, which we started to plug. I feel like we got better at that at the end of the second half, but also those outside runs. She's been able to, our defensive end is getting kicked out and the hole is ginormous. Those are things that Coach Konecki and the rest of the coaching staff will definitely adjust to and address at halftime.
And for Chicago's offense, the touchdown from Cassie Brick, her first performance of the year.
Yeah.
We've this first game for Cassie Brick. She got a 3-yard touchdown run. But Zoe Barnett, her second game, one of the Australians who have come over. She got a jet sweep and got into the end zone. Chicago's offense is known for those bubble screens, the jet sweeps. They're going to have more explosive plays. DC has really done a good job balling up the Force offense.
Yeah, they absolutely have. And I mean, I think, we talked a little bit about what a different game today is versus last week's game. So that's got to take some getting used to. And there's also been some timing issues on the offensive side of the ball with Cassie Brick carrying the ball, like this being her first game back. We haven't really seen Jay Gray get any targets yet, having her back in the lineup. So, the bullets are in the gun. We got to get it right and start using them.
You're so know a lot being a special teamer yourself. How important special teams could be. We've seen it tonight.
Yeah.
Some kickoff returns, some punt returns for Chicago. They've gotten good field position. Some penalties on special teams. The Divas on a negative kick. Neelis kicked it almost behind her because of the wind.
Yeah.
To me, special teams could be a little bit of a factor here in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, they absolutely could. I mean, it's a very overlooked, portion of the game. But I think I might be misspeaking a little bit. But something like 1 in 7 plays or 1 in 10 plays in every football game is a special teams play. I mean, so you can't count it out, the importance of that. And when you're a team like Chicago Force, on any game building up to, with the exception of this week so far, when you're scoring 7, 8, 9 touchdowns a game, you're kicking off a lot.
Yeah.
And so, you're seeing a lot of action on that side of the ball. And we've seen the Force do a good job, I think, on the sort of defensive side of special teams today. So they need to use that as an opportunity, as a springboard.
Let me give you the scoring. It started with 9:45 to go in the first quarter. The Divas got the touchdown pass from 22 yards out. It's Hamlin, the Wizenot. PAT was no good, so the Divas had the 6-0 lead. Force come back. 6:40 to go in the first quarter. A 3-yard touchdown run from Cassie Brick. PAT was good, 7-6. 2:10 to go in the first quarter. DC comes back. A 6-yard touchdown pass. Hamlin, the Wizenot. PAT was good, so DC had the 13-7 lead going in to the second quarter. The scoring in the second quarter came with 6:33 to go. It was Chicago. 17 yards out, the jet sweep. Zoe Barnett got in for a touchdown. Barnett, it is her second rushing touchdown of the season. The 2-point PAT was good. Chicago had the 15-13 lead. But late in the second quarter, DC comes back. 2:48 to go, a 6-yard touchdown run from Kenyetta Grigsby. PAT was good, and that's where we stand. DC with the 5-point lead, 20-15. We'll do this. We'll take a 3-minute timeout. 3-minute timeout. We'll come back. I'll give our sponsors another yell at, the Chicago Force sponsors. Also get ready for the second half. 3-minute timeout. We'll come back and we'll get you ready for second half action. Women's Football Alliance, women's tackle football. It's the 3-1 DC Divas. They have a 5-point lead, 20-15 over the undefeated Chicago Force. You're listening to Chicago Force football on AM 1230 WJOB. We're at the half. Women's tackle football. Women's Football Alliance, Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau. Chicago Force football. It's 20-15. The DC Divas have the 5-point lead here at the half. Chicago Force football, great sponsors. They're brought to you by Athletico, by Celtic Crown Pub, by DLG Management, by Rayla and Associates PC, and by Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. Great sponsors of Chicago Force football. The reason why we can bring you this type of broadcast, video streaming, also on the radio, AM 1230 WJOB. Christina Cortez back in the studios helping us out tonight. And Shelby, before we get to the second half, we mentioned it in the last game, but we're going to see these two teams, no matter what happens in the playoffs, two of the top teams with DC coming in 3-1, Chicago 4-0, and it's an interesting little plot is how the WFA kind of sets up the playoff schedule.
Yeah. Speaking with General Manager Linda Bechet before the game today and asking her about the playoff system specifically because this game in particular definitely has some impact on that. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with the current playoff system, this year the league has taken the strategy of dividing all of the teams, the 45 teams that are in the league, into 3 different divisions, they're calling them essentially. And it's WFA Division 1, 2, 3, so it's a fairly easy system to understand. But the teams are broken up based upon years of experience and also roster size. So some of the teams in the league, any of the teams that have a roster of over 40 players, like the Chicago Force, like the DC Divas, Pittsburgh Passion, Boston Renegade, those premier teams, those are all in WFA level 1. Mm-hmm. And then the next level of teams is groups that have a roster of 26 to 39 players. And then the third tier is expansion teams, newer teams, groups with smaller rosters, smaller markets, that kind of thing. As I was speaking with Linda about it, she was saying it's really to a benefit for the league because it's really creating a strategy that promotes the best quality product up in that WFA 1 tier and really is making playoffs more important for everybody, more competitive. It doesn't really change a lot for us because we've always been a perennial playoff player, but is, I think, providing some equality within the league and giving teams the opportunity to have a real shot at the postseason.
So Chicago is, right now, they're ranked number 1 overall in the National Conference.
Yep.
Chicago is in the National Conference, the Northeast region, the Great Lakes Division. So Chicago undefeated. Indy Crasher 3-2. So next week, Chicago has an opportunity to take on Indy, win their 7th straight division championship.
Yep. For
DC, DC is in the National Conference Northeast region Colonial Division. That's where Boston is 3-1, DC's 3-1, Philadelphia is 3-2. But remember, DC beat Boston, so they would have the head-to-head win there, and they play them again. Yeah. So. And
the real ramification of this kind of stratification. So the Force and the DC Divas are both going to make the playoffs in the WFA 1 tier. But what we're really playing for here is seeding and home field advantage, which really becomes critical at that time of the year. Largely because of the wear and tear on the players and the what travel adds to that, but also the financial commitment. I mean, sending the Chicago Force all the way to Boston, is easily a $10,000 trip, when you get into flights and things like that. So there's a lot to be had here.
Nealis, a line drive kick to Brick. Brick's moving left to right, gets a huge block, trying to cut up at the 45, still on her feet, gang tackled at the 47-yard line. So DC kicked it off, line drive to Brick. She gets it up to the 47. So Chicago will start their first drive of the second half right there. We'll see what Rasan Gore can do. Not a lot of running room for Gore in that first half for Chicago.
No, absolutely not. I mean, there was a huge block right there by Jamie Menzik. That really opened the play up for Cassie Brick there. But an adjustment to the kick return team. Cassie Brick used to be in the 2 deep set. Now she's in the closer 2 set, so that's made a big difference. Nice move there.
Then a marker at the 49. 1st and 10 for Chicago, moving left to right. Force are down by 5 if we start the second half. Gore changing some of the positions of her players in the backfield. Brick in motion. Fake handoff. Gore's going to move it to the near side. It's got some blockers. Up to the 45, down to the 40. So that's about, what, the first play really that Rasan Gore has been able to get to the outside, get some positive yards. So it's a first down for Chicago. They're in Diva territory down to the 40.
Great job blocking there. The backfield players right now are Jamie Menzick and Kelsey Casey, really making the holes and making things available. Great job just mowing people down there.
We mentioned Cassie Brick. Her grandparents from Seattle, Washington are watching.
We got Tamika Robinson in the game now.
1st and 10. 3 receivers, Robinson in motion. Gets the handoff in the jet sweep. Tries to cut back inside. The DC Divas defense was right there. Tia Watkins finishes it up, but it was another player that made the cut in, and that was Kiana Murphy, who made the running back cut back inside. Great play by Murphy and a loss on first down back to the 43-yard line.
Yeah, it was interesting to see right there. She did not have the comfort with the blocking scheme there that Cassie Brick showed. I mean, what she should have done was made the inside cut and go right off of Jamie Menzick. That's where the hole is. The outside is where the defensive player has the advantage.
Gore, handoff, Vanderhayden. Up the middle, and then she's taken down hard. Gain of 3 on the play, but a big stop, a big tackle from Trig McNair, who made the stop. Some positive yards for Chicago. It's going to bring up 3rd and long, though. 3rd and 11 at the 41 of D.C. as Chicago moves left to right here in the third quarter. It's really turned out to be a nice day. The wind has gone down. Nice, bright, sunshiny day to end this Saturday. And it's a huge 3rd down, the force. Gore tried to throw the screen on the outside, deflected. It was deflected away by Sivet Henson as she was putting pressure on Gore. Incomplete. So now you got 4th down.
Yeah, you could make a case there. I feel like for a little bit of contact with the quarterback after the play. I mean, she'd released the ball and was definitely standing there before she got hit by Sivet there. This is a tough situation for the Force. It would have been nice to see them come out and march down the field to start second half.
And this is an interesting call from head coach John Konecki. He does not like the punt, but he's put the punt team on the field. Fornell will punt it away. Again, a one bouncer to Fornell, and she gets it blocked. Watkins blocks it for DC, and they're just going to kneel down on it. Tia Watkins gets in on the block punt, and DC's going to have field position inside Force territory. A special teams play comes up huge for DC here, the start of the second half.
You know, I don't really ever want to say anything negative, but the Chicago Force long snapping has historically been terrible. And it's costing us right there.
Big special teams play. So now DC will have their first drive of the second half inside Force territory. From the 49-yard line, Hamlin under center, I formation, 3 receivers. Again, Hamlin with the hard count, gives it Grigsby up the middle, breaks tackles, down past the 45, down to the 43-yard line.
Angel
so Kenyetta Grigsby gets another carry. You mentioned Angel Smith. This is a type of running back, though, as you get late in the second half, can really wear down a defense.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think you're even starting to see that right there. I mean, she was busting through. Angel Smith crashed to the inside, was down on her knees, and Grigsby ran right behind her. I mean, we're going to have to watch this. We got to start plugging the middle.
Gain of 6. 2nd and 4. Hamlin again gives it right back to Grigsby. Up the middle. Down to the 40. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and 1 as Grigsby, right between her guards, just goes right up the middle.
Yep. Great job by Kim Marks to hold her ground there. I mean, she definitely was making the pile there at the line of scrimmage.
In the third quarter, 12 minutes to play. 20-15 DC. Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau. 3rd and 1. Hamlin looks over the defense. Under center's just going to take it up the middle. QB sneak. Still on her feet. Past the linebackers, past the 30, down to the 28. Those are type of plays you maybe get 1 or 2 yards, but it's Hamlin who bowls it all the way down. big gain.
Well, and she got met by Jill Iraqi there, you know, to take her down just inside the 30, and it was kind of like Jill was hanging on for dear life. Cahill got up. Oh, sorry, not Cahill. Thinking we're playing Boston.
Yes, you are.
Hanlon, you know, definitely have an attitude and some confidence taking that ball there.
On first down, a handoff to Grigsby, wide open. No one there up the middle of the field. She's got down to the the 2-yard line, and Grigsby with a huge hole right up the middle. She wasn't touched for the first 10, 15 yards.
No.
It's going to bring up first and goal down at the 3.
Jamie Fornell came flying in from the corner on the far side and made that tackle, saved the touchdown right there.
So DC gets the block punt. They start this drive inside force territory and have taken it all the way down to the 3. It's going to bring up first and goal. 2 receiver package. Hamlin just takes it right up the middle, just pushes the pile forward, and is she in for the touchdown? She is. From 3 yards out, DC has taken a double-digit lead with 11:05 to go in the third quarter. It's now DC 26-15.
We're seeing the size become a real factor here at the opening of the second half.
Yep.
I mean, DC is just manhandling the defense here.
So Hamlin has 2 passing touchdowns. She now has a rushing touchdown. The PAT to come. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and the kick is good. So with 11:05 to go in the third quarter, DC now leads 27-15, and in my opinion, this next drive from Chicago is a big one. You got to get some momentum. Points would be huge, but you just got to get some momentum on that offensive side.
Yeah, I mean, the Force offense has got to start being more aggressive. I feel like they've got to be continuing their blocks downfield and maintaining the leverage so that the backfield has an opportunity to squeak through that line of scrimmage and go to some of those open holes. And the other thing we need to do is the passing game has got to come to life. Otherwise, all DC does is floods the box because they know it's going to be a running play, and then we're just battling. And that's what's wearing on the offensive linemen.
So the Force fans in attendance saw their team up 15-13. But DC has scored the last 14 points, 14 unanswered. And they have the lead here in the third quarter. Again, it's Brick and Fornell back deep to our left, waiting from the kick from Stephanie Nealis. DC's made the stops that they had to on the defensive side, and their run game has gotten going.
A touchdown return here would be a great momentum maker.
DC will kick it right to left. Nealis on a nice little pooch kick, and it's caught by Marks.
Fair catch.
She kneels down, yeah, fair catch from Marks at the 42-yard line. Smart play from Kim Marks.
Yep.
Made the catch. Fair catch. And now Chicago has to do something on offense. They're down by 12. Plenty of time, 11:05, but you don't want to get down too much to the reigning champs of the WFA.
Absolutely not. I mean, this is look, see the Force offense coming out quickly. We're not wasting any time. Coach Konecki knows we're going to have to fight for every single score here in the second half. 4
receivers to the far side, 1 to the near. Gore fakes the handoff, goes up the middle.
Great drop in by the linebacker.
It's Tia Watkins. She can do it all. She came in as the leading tackler for DC.
Yep.
She gets another one. Chicago may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. It's second down and 10. They're going to say she's at the 43.
Starting to see a little scrappiness here. There's definitely some auxiliary action happening after the tackle and in these piles. That's starting to become a factor here as well.
Same formation for Chicago. 5 wideouts. 4 to the left. And some movement before the snap. This one looks like it's going to be on Chicago.
Yep.
It is. 5 yards back for the Force. So let's bring up second and 15.
This is definitely a doable thing for the Chicago Force offense. I mean, we've seen Coach Konecki really pull a lot of tricks out of his bag and really make some smart play calling to take advantage of an unsuspecting defense. But the momentum, as you said, Andy, is the thing that they need to generate right now.
Second and 14 back at the 39 of Chicago. Gore in the gun by herself. A screen to the far side, caught. Up to the 40 on the far sideline. back up to the original line of scrimmage for Chicago.
We're really seeing the DC defense move really well, sideline to sideline. I mean, that particular play, that screen pass to the outside, is where the linebackers have to move laterally parallel to the line of scrimmage, and they're doing a great job of hustling.
Kelly Moore was on that screen. This time the screen goes out to Gray, who caught it, but not much there. She's up to the 45-yard line, so it's 4th down and call it 9. So you get 2 screens, one from Kelly Moore on 2nd down. On 3rd down, they went to Jeanette Gray. Not much there. And now on 4th down, the Force are going for it. From their own 44, Gore, another screen to the far side. It's caught, but DC stops them again. Not enough for the 1st down. They didn't even get to midfield. 3 straight screens to the far sideline, and Chicago turns the ball over.
I wonder what it is. I mean, I certainly don't have the aptitude that Coach Konecki does for what he's seeing on the sideline there, but what matchup does he see that we should be taking advantage of, that we should be winning, and that should be a successful play, especially on 4th down?
So DC again gets another stop. You can see there's 2 or 3 divas there.
Yeah, it's not a one block kind of thing.
That screen went out to Cassie Brick. We've seen her get a lot of action tonight, but for Chicago, not a lot of points.
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure on the Force defense right now because it's a very, very important that the margin that DC has does not increase here.
The Force came in averaging 56 points per game. 1st and 10, DC's going for it long. They got a receiver and it's caught. Middle of the field down to the 15-yard line. It's Amanda Congialdi.
It's the second big play we've seen from her today.
They took advantage. They get the turnover on downs. They're looking for the big play, and Hamlin finds her. Amanda Congialdi, with a huge catch down to the 15-yard line. DC back in business. They already have a 12-point lead. We have 9-10 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
Again, we're seeing these matchup issues that are creating real passing opportunities for DC.
Handoff Grigsby. A lot of room on the left side. Near wing, cutting down to the end zone. She's just short of getting in for another rushing touchdown. To this near side, there was nobody there. It was one-on-one. Grigsby able to get down close to the goal line. And it's going to bring up 1st and goal.
The DC wideout in that play was doing a great job of maintaining her block and continuing to seal the edge, which really just creates all kind of space for the DC running back.
Down to the 2, and DC looking to put their stamp on this one. DC coming out of the huddle on 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. Plain and simple, DC's offense has made more plays than the Force offense tonight.
Yep, absolutely. A big chunk of them, where they've got big gains passing.
At the 2, Hamlin in the eye. Waits for the snap. So give it to Grigsby. Grigsby moves to her right, cuts inside, touchdown DC. It's Grigsby's 2nd rushing touchdown of the night. It's her 8th touchdown of the season, and DC is taking control of the game right now, 33-15.
Great block right there. Again, we're seeing Amanda Congialdi do, not only receiving, but had a great down block right there that knocked the only Chicago Force defender out of the way.
The PAT, the kick is up, the kick is good. So it's another rushing touchdown, this one from Grigsby. And DC's feeling really good about what's happening right now. 8:13 to go, 3rd quarter. DC now up by a score of 34-15.
They definitely are fired up on the DC sideline here on the near side, knowing that they're playing a very, very talented Chicago Force team and really, have their hands on the controller right now.
So DC again will kick it away.
It'd be nice again to see some special teams action here. Really, that could be the difference maker in this game. Now that we've got Cassie Brick back there doing that. Kelly Moore has done a great job today getting big gains off of kickoffs. This could be, again, this is another opportunity here.
After the kickoff, I'll tell you more about Athletico and what they can do for you. Right now, DC's done a lot for themselves. Up by 19 with 8:13 to go in the 3rd quarter. Head coach John Konecki trying to figure out what he can do. How do you solve this puzzle that DC's doing on the defensive side. Their offense, the one thing I would question on that last drive is going for it on 4th down.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Especially with the same screenplays. Nealis kicks it.
Nice
Takes a
kick.
bounce. Takes a
Get out of
DC
bounds.
bounce, but it's going to go out of bounds. So Chicago will get good field position as they start this drive down by 19. Hey, isn't it about time you came off injured reserve? Schedule a complimentary injury screen at any of our convenient locations and receive personal attention by a licensed medical professional. Complimentary injury screens are free, easy to schedule, and most importantly, provide you with a peace of mind. Call 1-877-ATHLETICO or visit us online at athletico.com to find a location near you. Athletico, the official provider of physical therapy and athletic training for the Chicago Force. So what the Force are going to do, they're going to make DC punt it away again, or kick it away.
Yeah.
See if they can get some better field position than the 35 that they would have.
Which we need here. Yeah, I mean, when you've got weapons like we do from a special team standpoint, you've got Cassie Brick, when you've got Kelly Moore, we got Jay Gray and Jamie Fornell back there. We want the ball in the air, not bouncing around on the ground, or we at least need to get it into the hands of one of our players.
DC has scored 21 unanswered points.
Oof.
They've taken advantage of the game.
Yep.
They've taken over the game. Really, I would say the middle of the second quarter, the momentum went to DC, and it really has been with the Divas since.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely agree. And I mean, it's a boxer mentality you have to have in a matchup like this is that you are going to be here for many, many rounds, and you just got to keep fighting on every single play.
Brick picks it up at the 35, up to the 40, cuts inside 45 to the 50 at the left hash mark. And that's the type of field position that Coach Konecki was looking for. That's why he didn't take the penalty. So you start this drive in DC territory, but you got to get something going. The Force down by 19 with 8:03 to go here in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can kind of stand here, at least from our vantage point, and say, okay, so we're talking about 15 yards. We're going from the 35 to the 50. But the likelihood of scoring, that percentage goes up so significantly when you cross the 50-yard line that 15 yards becomes important.
Gore fakes the handoff, looking to throw, caught. Far sideline, Jeanette Gray.
Nice.
Tight defense, but Gray makes the catch inside the 45-yard line.
We had Jamie Fornell on a post route, or a slant actually, from the inside slot receiver location that she was wide open. It'd be nice to see her make that connection with Gore.
Kira Robinson made the tackle on Gray. Here's Gore again, looking to throw. Caught, far sideline again, Jeanette Gray. Gray's getting in the action.
Yep, just what we need.
She's bumped out of bounds by Alicia Hopkins. Alicia Hopkins. So it's 3rd and 1. Force looking to pick up this first down at the 40-yard line. Handoff Vanderhayden. She's stopped, and a loss as Vanderhayden cannot find any room on the handoff. So a 3rd and 1 turns into a 4th and almost 4.
Yeah. I'm almost surprised that we didn't bring in our big package there, our heavy hitter package, to bring Jamie Menzick in to lead block and get that extra yard for the first down.
So at the 42, it's going to bring up 4th and 3. Huge 4th down. Gore looking to throw. Throwing it deep. Far sideline and incomplete. Gray was open, but Gore overthrew her. And again, DC gets a stop on the defensive end.
Yep.
As Gore couldn't connect with Gray. And DC has complete control of this one right now.
Yep. I think what we're finding is that, DC knew coming into this game that, unfortunately, last week's run-heavy Chicago Force offense with only 2 passes was A, due to the weather, but B, unfortunately, put off our game this year.
So DC takes over. They have the 34-15 lead. I expect us to see a lot of Grigsby. She gets the handoff on first down. Up the middle, tackled just inside the right hash mark. Close to midfield. She's going to be taken down at the 48. Gain of 6, 2nd down and 4. And you'll see if DC starts to use some of that time now.
Yeah. Keep the clock running. But, I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, they've been very successful just grinding it out and really pushing the ball on the ground.
Back in the eye, 3 receiver set. Hamlin Steps back to throw. She's pushed out of the pocket. Now she's going to throw it on the far sideline. The throw did get back to the line of scrimmage. Hamlin just under pressure. Pocket collapsing, moved to her right, threw it out of bounds on the far side.
Nice aggressiveness by Angel Smith right there to really complete the play and continue to pursue Hamlin, drive her into the ground. It's, that still needs to occur.
The Force are looking for intentional grounding, but that ball got back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Might not have been anybody around, but it did make it there.
It's going to bring up 3rd down and 4. Chicago Force head coach John Konecki trying to state his case, but the officials won't listen to it. So this turns into a big 3rd down for the Force defense, looking to make a stop. 6:21 to go in the 3rd quarter. DC has the 34-15 lead on 3rd and 4. Back in the eye. Hamlin under center. Handoff, Grigsby. Stood up. Still able to get some positive yards. Mary Choles came up to meet her. She gained 1 up to the 49-yard line. So it's 4th down and 3. And we'll see what Divas head coach Allison Fisher wants to do on this 4th down.
Great play right there by Mary Choles. I mean, way to really step up in an important 3rd down situation. She was a yard or 2 deep at the start of the play. I was really worried that actually we were going to jump off sides on that play. Mary did a great job firing off the ball and stuffing that hole.
On 4th and 3, Grigsby goes up the middle, but she stopped, and this is going to be really close.
Oof, they're going to measure.
This is real close. She might just be short.
Yeah.
And where they marked
right.
it, she is. She didn't get the 1st down. A big stop for Chicago.
Yep. Inches right there we're talking about.
And the Force take over. Grigsby right up the middle. And it was Mary Choles.
Yep.
Again, how many times have we talked about Mary Choles this season?
Yep.
She gets the stop. So now Chicago again has another opportunity.
All right, they got to make something happen here. Now's the time we got to get down the field.
At the 49-yard line, Gore in the gun. 4 wide out. She's got a running back to her left. Gore looks over the defense, waits for the snap. She's going to put more in motion. Handoff.
Ooh, follow Dawn
Brick.
Peterson.
Past midfield. 45, 40. Still on her feet to the near side. Still pushing forward.
Nice.
Stretches the ball out at the 35-yard line. See if it becomes the Cassie Brick show.
Yep.
Going north and south.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, we would love to see that. She did a great job with Dawn Peterson, our left guard, pulling her onto the right-hand side. She was right on her tail. That's the way to follow the block.
Brick again to the right of Gore in the gun. 1st and 10 at the Divas 35-yard line. Gore again looks over the defense. Forced down by 19. Gore, 3-step drop. Throws the screen out to Brick on the near side. Cuts inside the 30. Down to the 28-yard line.
Would have been nice to see Kelly Rare get out in front of that and take care of that outside defender for Cassie to cut it inside, make it upfield.
We might have 2 Divas hurt. Latrice Elcock, number 77 for DC, comes out, but we still have another Diva being looked at the 32-yard line on the near side.
Might be Trig McNair.
Chicago trying to get back in this one here in the 3rd quarter. Andy Garcia alongside Tricia Charbonneau. DC has scored 21 unanswered points. They have a 34-15 lead. And we'll make sure on the number for DC to see who it is. Head coach Allison Fisher is out there. So is the medical staff for the Divas. And Chicago had the lead 15-13 with 6:33 to go in the 2nd quarter. It's been 2 rushing touchdowns for Kenyatta Grigsby. Also, Allison Hamlin, the quarterback's got a rushing touchdown, as it is McNair that comes off under her own power. So we will resume play with 2nd down and 3. Ball at the 28 of DC. Gore in the gun all by herself. She's got 4 wideouts. Gore, she's going to run it. Cuts inside at the 30. On her feet, breaks some tackles at the 29. And then gang tackled at the 24. First down for Chicago. Move the chains. Down at the 23-yard line. Again, time becoming a factor for Chicago. 4:50 to go in the third quarter. They're down by 19, but they're looking to get a score here.
They're getting some momentum going and having some success, but it's very methodical. We're plodding along. You're right about the time.
You got more in motion. Handoff, no. Fake from Gore. Able to break tackles. Up to the 20, still on her feet. Tries to go outside on the nearer side. And we got a flag on the far side as well. So she got down to the 20, pushed back. And this might be legal motion on Chicago. They might have had two players in motion.
Oh, that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, legal shift from Chicago. So that's going to push the force back. Still going to be first down.
Do you think this is a must-score situation we're in right now?
Yeah, when you got still a 3 score.
Yeah.
You get the 2-point PATs, but for Chicago, they just need to get something going.
Yeah.
On 1st and 15, back at the 28. Gore fakes the screen to the near side, gives the screen to the far side to Jeanette Gray. She's on the sideline, then pushed out of bounds inside the 25 or right at the 25.
Yep.
So a couple yards to the 25. The Force have to get inside the 15, though, for the first down. Second down and call it 12. And now one of the Divas is hurt on the far side. It's number 14, Lenny Kotsis. She's going to come off, though, pretty quickly, running off the field. It's one of the medical staff are right by her. Might have just had a twitch or something. Kotsis comes off. And we're back to play. From the 25 of the Divas, the Force moving left to right. Second down and 12. Gore in the gun. It's got 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the right, or 1 to the far side. She's got Brick to her left hip. Gore looking to throw. Far sidelines. Got Gray, but
Pass
good
interference?
defense. Yes, pass interference is coming. They tried to throw it to Jeanette Gray on the far sideline. Pass interference is going to come from Eris Woodard on the far wing.
So, all right, here's the chance. I mean, that's the play that we needed. We need that point of contact. I guess it's a yardage foul, right?
Yep.
It's college rules, right? But hopefully that's going to get us first down.
Automatic first down for Chicago on the pass interference from Woodard. You got to see if you can take advantage of Jay Gray.
Yeah.
She's been one of your veterans.
I mean, especially from a passing standpoint. I mean, that's been one of the things we've been talking about is potential targets. I mean, really with experience on the Chicago Force. I mean, Jamie Fornell in her second year with us, but otherwise everyone else, is really lacking in that.
The Zebras are going to come in again, just make sure it's marked at the right spot.
Get the chain gang together here.
They're going to mark it at the 10. So it's first and goal for Chicago.
All right. So now even from not only is it a clock, a time management and a need to score, but I think there's also some confidence that will come along with a score here that the Chicago Force offense needs.
Brick up the middle. Little hesitation, but Sheree Marshall was there to make the tackle right at the line of scrimmage. Cassie Brick on the delay. Looking for a hole, and Marshall closed it up quickly. Second down and goal. Time a factor now. 3:20 to go in the third quarter. It's 34-15, DC with the lead. Chicago knocking at the door. See if they can put some points up. Gore gets the snap. Hand off to Cassie Brick. Right up the middle. Right at the goal line. But you know what? We got another flag.
Yeah.
She got into the end zone from 10 yards out, but we got a penalty.
Yeah.
The official, the head official, the referee blew it right away. Must be a hold. See what they call.
Yep.
Gore gave it to Brick. Moved a little bit to her left and then cut back inside. She got right into the end zone, but we'll see what the penalty is.
It's hard to see in the replay.
Head coach John Konecki of Chicago wants an explanation. Let's see, maybe
All right. Yeah, it looks like maybe
we'll
it's.
see. Maybe it's not on Chicago. Personal foul, roughing the passer. So the touchdown's good from 10 yards out. My
Perfect.
apologies if you're a Chicago fan. with 3:06 to go, it's Cassie Brick with the 10-yard touchdown run. It's Brick's second touchdown of the season and of this game. It's her first game of the season. So the Force not giving up. And now we got the PAT.
Big extra point here. I mean, this is going to be critical.
Coach has always been one to go for two. I'm really surprised he's not this time. The snap, hold, and it's blocked. The PAT was blocked. See if I can get a number on who got that for DC. But that's a huge stop. Chicago comes back, gets some points. It's now 34-21 as DC will get the ball back. So Chicago gets the touchdown that they needed. It's a two-possession game.
One of the things that you see on that extra point play is that the kicker is not advancing towards the ball until it is set on the ground, which is giving the defense way too long. It's giving them way too long to get back there. I mean, she's got to start moving to the point where that ball goes down, and a split second later, she's kicking it. It's the only way. It's just that play's taking too long to materialize and giving them a chance to blow it.
Gives me a chance to give a shout out to another Chicago Force sponsor, and this one is Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. MOR is nationally recognized as a leader in comprehensive orthopedic services and sports medicine. MOR is proud to be the team physician to the Chicago Bulls, Blackhawks, and your Chicago Force. That's Midwest Orthopedics at Rush, www.rush-ortho.com. Again, Midwest Orthopedics at Rush, www.rush-ortho.com. So Chicago is going to kick it away, and we get the penalty. It's on Chicago, so they'll kick it now from the 30.
Maybe somebody crossed the line of scrimmage in advance of the ball.
Kelly Rear will kick it again, going left to right. DC's got the double-digit lead. This
good.
One's kicked by one of the up men of DC. She's taken down right away. That was Savette Henson, who had to pick it up at the 45. She's tackled at the 44. So Chicago down by 13, kicks it off. DC's got it back.
I mean, definitely we are in this game here. I mean, it's, one special teams play. We get Cassie Burke breaking something on offense, and I mean, we're within another score. I mean, definitely this game is in striking distance, but a defensive stance here by the Force is definitely important.
This isn't the season ending.
No.
We got a lot of football to go.
Absolutely.
We will be back on the radio, just like tonight, next Saturday night. Force take on division rival Indy Crash, but we got some business to take care of tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hamlin was going to pitch it to Grigsby. Broken play. She's taken back for a loss of 4 back to the 40. Kim Marks will get the sack. But Hamlin came out, was going to pitch it to the left to Grigsby, just kind of faked it, didn't give the snap off or give the handoff, and the pitch.
Definitely some miscommunication in terms of the offensive coordination there, but good to see the Force take advantage of that, and not allow a broken play become a kind of a wacky DC score.
And if you're head coach Allison Fisher in DC, this game's not over. You've had control, but the Force aren't giving it up yet.
No, absolutely not.
Hamlin looking to throw in the middle of the field. Now she had her hand touched. I mean, there's some pressure on DC.
The Force defense just gave her just nailed her after she released the ball, and there's a flag on the play, which I really, really hope is not a roughing the passer play, because that will be ridiculous. Oh, that's ridiculous.
I don't know how you call that. So
that's ridiculous.
Hamlin dropped back to throw. She was trying to get it to Wisenot in the middle of the field down deep, and it looked like that it was knocked away. But they're going to call the personal foul, roughing the passer.
Yeah, I really do not agree with that, and I was just about to say the importance of being stalwart on this particular series.
We mentioned it all game, though, penalties.
Yeah.
It's been a big part of this one tonight.
Yeah, it absolutely has.
So that's a huge penalty. That gets put DC in the Force territory down to the 45-yard line. I formation.
I like the aggressiveness of the Chicago Force defense, though. I mean, they're still bringing it, and that's important.
Hamlin under center. Hands off to Grigsby. stopped right
We
at the
got
line of
Tammy
scrimmage.
Engelman in.
Yeah, and Mary Chules. So Engelman and Chules get the stop for no gain. Brings up second down for DC as the clock continues to move. Under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Divas have the 34-21 lead.
Definitely we're seeing some attitude and aggression happening out there. Some of these plays are ending pretty rough, and there's a lot of action once the whistle's been blown.
If you can keep it down to this number deficit for Chicago going into the fourth, you have an opportunity.
Yep.
Can't give up a late score here in the third quarter.
Absolutely.
2nd and 10. 3 receivers for DC at the Force 45-yard line. In the eye, Hamlin hands off to Grigsby. Gets past the first line. Gets past the second line. Breaks a couple tackles. Can take it to the house. Near sideline. 10, 5. She stepped out of bounds. Grigsby with a huge run, as I just mentioned, not giving up that late score. From the 45 all the way down to the 5. A 40-yard run from Kenyetta Grigsby. She broke tackles, got some great blocks, and stepped out of bounds at the 5.
You know, I think this is an example of you're seeing there was several missed tackles on that particular play, and we're starting to see fatigue come into play for the Force defense.
So 1:21 to go in the quarter, and we get a timeout. I believe Chicago called a timeout. It's going to be 1st and goal at the 5.
Looks like Jamie Menzik is bleeding out there. Maybe we called the timeout rather than having to have her come off the field.
So both teams get a little bit of water, take a break. 1:21. We'll keep it here.
I really like what Coach Coleman was doing right there with the defensive set. He's moved to a 5-down lineman situation, bringing one of the linebackers up to the line of scrimmage, and then having a standing person on the edge to really bring that presence. We've seen Tammy Engelman come in, who, you know, for those of you that don't know her, is 6'1", probably weighs 285 or 90 pounds maybe, and so she's a real presence down there.
Yep.
And really can, you know, take up a lot of real estate and really is very extremely strong. So she's really valuable out there.
This drive wasn't helped by a penalty, passing or not roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Call that the DC Diva fans will love.
Yes.
It's a fan. The Force fans hate.
I really think that was a crony call.
But with 1:10 to go in the third quarter, DC's got it. 1st and goal at the 5. This is going to be a handoff, this time to Pickett. She gets inside, and it's a touchdown, or is she right at the line, right at the goal line?
Yeah, seems like maybe on the 1.
Yeah, she is at the 1. Okima Pickett down to the 1. She got the handoff. 2nd down and goal. As we finish up here in the third quarter. 45 seconds to go before we move to the fourth. From the 1. Bunch formation. Hamlin just takes it right up the middle, pushing the pile. Chicago trying to stop her. The officials come in right at the goal line, and they're going to say touchdown.
Yeah, I think so.
Touchdown for DC. So the Divas come back after Chicago gets a score, and the Divas get back on the board.
We got somebody down.
Yeah, they're asking for the medical staff. It's one of the Force players.
Kim Marks.
It was a huge pile right at the goal line. The medical staff taking a look at Kim Marks.
They want to be us, babe.
I mean, she is
They want to be us, babe.
definitely rolling her over. That's good.
Medical staff taking a look. Let's do this. Christina back in the WJOB studios. Let's take a 1-minute timeout with Kim Marks getting looked at from the medical staff. 1-minute timeout. We'll come back. DC has just scored. So we'll come back with the PAT. Just about 26 seconds to go in the third quarter. DC now up 40-21 over the Force. You're listening to Chicago Force football on AM 1230 WJOB.
Darn it.
Here we go. Nope, never mind.
I can barely hear it. Can you hear me?
I can hear it.
You can, okay.
Yeah.
26 seconds remaining. Third quarter.
I'm not going to take the break. Kim Marks walked off the field. The PAT was good. So we have 26 seconds to go in the third quarter. And DC now has a 41-21 lead over Chicago. Andy Garcia alongside Trisha Charbonneau. And it's been the DC Divas that have control. You've got 2 passing touchdowns from Hamlin. You got 2 running touchdowns from Hamlin.
Yep.
DC Divas offense has just quite simply been better tonight than the Force offense. And you can say a lot about the Divas defense for that as well.
Yep.
You could see they came in with a great game plan for what Rasan Gore and the Force wanted to do. And defensive coordinator Willie Bennett should get a lot of the credit for what he's done to get this Divas team ready. Is the Divas are about 15 minutes away from giving the Force their first loss of the season here at home.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a tough go here for the Chicago Force offense. I mean, really not being able to get any momentum. And the defense definitely looked strong in the first, as you said, quarter and half.
Yep.
But I think the size and the physicality of the Divas team is really wearing on them as we make our way through the second.
Penalties have been a big factor in tonight's game. Nealis, a little pooch kick.
Ooh.
No one touched it. Goes out of bounds.
That's dangerous right there. I mean, we saw the Divas player, Shaquanda Gainey, pardon me, really going after that ball, which was clearly a mild attempt at an onside kick, but she was sprinting down the sideline going for that ball. Force will re-kick again.
They will. Force are looking to do what they did that last time, where they're not going to take the ball at the 35. They're looking for something better. Hope everyone's enjoying the webcast, the video stream tonight. Hope everyone's listening on AM 1230 WJOB. Christina Cortez back in the JOB studios helping us out from the video crew. Chuck Pullen directing tonight. Jeff Corey, Rob Cantu doing the cameras. For Divas fans, they gotta love this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nealis now will kick it away again. Again, the same little pooch kick, and then we get the whistle. And it's offsides on DC, so this ball's going to be moved back another 5 yards.
Wow.
So now Nealis will kick it from the 25. At the end of the first quarter, DC led 13-7. At the end of the first half, DC led 20-15. DC has scored 3 more times here in the third quarter. 2 of them on the feet of Allison Hamlin. Kenyatta Grigsby has 2 rushing touchdowns for DC. She's gotten over 100 yards tonight. 2 passing touchdowns. It's been the big weapons for DC.
Yeah, absolutely. They're bread and butter, really. And, Chicago just haven't taken advantage of the opportunities that have been in front of them. And when they've been stymied by a couple of penalties here and there, they haven't really been able to bounce back.
Oops. This one's kicked. Brick picks it up at the 40. Tries to make a move, and she's stunned right there.
Great
That's
coverage
good
by
special
DC.
teams, yep. 25 for DC.
Oh, we got a flag.
Kucheria Johnson is who I have for 25. And maybe too much emotion from DC.
You start to see that in a game like this, that these, after the whistle kind of things start to happen. There's a little bit of attitude, a little bit of frustration that starts to come into play, and even a little showmanship. And that's kind of what we're seeing occur here.
And that's not Johnson who's getting talked to, number 25.
Yeah.
See if I can get the number.
Oh.
Edis?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
So Edis is number 25 in their roster. So that personal foul is going to push the ball inside Divas territory for Chicago, who's now working on this drive down by 20. late here in the third quarter. We got 21 seconds to go in the third. Gore in the gun. She's got 3 wideouts to the far side, 1 to the near. In motion is Moore. Gore's just going to take it up the middle. Inside the 45-yard line, she's tackled by Kiana Ford. At the 44, so it's going to bring up 2nd down and 6.
Nice to take the 4 yards on that play. I don't know if it looked like it to you, but I felt like the timing on the jet sweep was off. It was run a little bit late, and Gore was holding onto the ball for a long time.
So that's going to end the third quarter. That was the final play of the third quarter. Let's take a 1-minute timeout. 1-minute timeout. We'll come back with the last 15 minutes. It's DC with the 20-point lead. 41-21 over the Force. You're listening to Chicago Force football on AM 1230 WJOB. Inside, and about 3 Divas meet Zoe Barnett right in the middle of the field. Been good tackling so far for DC tonight.
That's another thing. They do not miss a lot of tackles either. Not only do they have a lot of players swarming to every single play, but they do not miss tackle.
Gain of 2, down to the 29. 2nd down and 8. Brick in the backfield with Gore in the gun. Brick gets the handoff. She's just delayed right at the line of scrimmage, and again, DC gang tackling. This time, it was Devon Goldsmith and Cherie Marshall.
Goldsmith really, took one step back behind the defender and then just ran right parallel to the line of scrimmage behind the Chicago Force offense and made that tackle from behind.
No gain, so it brings up 3rd and 8 at the 29. Chicago looking to spread it out again with 3 wideouts. Gore looking to throw. Has a receiver, far sideline, caught
Gray.
by
Touchdown,
Gray.
hopefully.
She tried to reach for the pylon. Did they say she stayed in bounds? Gray beat the defender, Kotsis, and they're going to say that she's marked out of bounds at the 4-yard line. But what a catch from Jay Gray.
I mean, great to have her back as an offensive threat. I mean, the officiating crew today is taking a really long time to make decisions.
They may want to know, they're not going to get a chance to look at it.
Replay that, huh?
But what a catch from Gray.
And that's the big play opportunity that she brings to the field. I mean, if you can connect with her, she has got steady hands.
So the ball's at the 4. 1st and goal for Chicago, moving right to left. Gore gives it to Barnett. Jet sweep, cuts back inside at the goal line. Touchdown for Chicago from 4 yards out. It's another jet sweep for Zoe Barnett. They cut the lead down a little bit. 4-yard touchdown for Barnett. Her 2nd touchdown of the night.
It's good to see her get another touchdown and continue to get acclimated and be successful, in a very different environment than she saw last week.
So 13-14 to go. It's now 41-27, so it's a 2-possession game.
Yep.
And Chicago's got 5, make that 4 players to the left and 4 players to the right. Now they're going to come to the line. A mixed-up formation. And the PAT coming from Kelly Rear. Barnett scores on the jet sweep. And the kick is up. And the kick is good. So with 13-14 to go, game changes just a little bit. The score now, DC 41, Chicago 28. So still a very interesting game to go with plenty of time here in the fourth.
I mean, definitely a possibility here. And Chicago, again, could be, they do have, especially with the weapons we've added recently, the Australian players and Cassie and Jake Ray, we have single play strikeability. I mean, that is definitely out there on the table. From a special team standpoint, from a big league play that we just saw, they got to keep fighting here.
It's Barnett, Zoe Barnett, with her third touchdown of the season. Remember, this is only her second game as a Force player.
Yep.
We've got a lot of the Australia fans coming out in full of Force, on the web stream. And the Force little pooch kick, caught at the 43, and then taken down at the 45 on the far sideline for DC. It was caught by Brownson, Callie Brownson.
I question that a little bit. Again, I feel like right now this is a game of field position, especially from the Force's defensive standpoint, that you need to push them, Washington, back as far as you possibly can, to give you that field to work with, rather than. I appreciate the aggressiveness, I think, of maybe going for a pooch kick and hoping it's going to bounce around so we can get the ball again, but I would like to see us just pin them as far back as we can.
Well, you need to stop here. If you're a
Yeah.
Force fan and the Force defense, you need to stop. DC will start at Chicago. Check that, DC's 45-yard line. You got one-on-one coverage on each side. And Hamlin is going to pitch at the whiz and knot on the end around, trying to get some positive yards. She does. Crosses midfield. Looked like there might have been stopped for a loss there, but her speed got her some yards. She's down all the way to the 45 of Chicago.
Yeah, you see right there on that reverse, we had the single coverage here on the near side that we were looking at with Dorian Bridges along with Melissa Washington. And Washington goes on a fly route, which takes Dorian with her straight down the sideline all the way out. And the reverse has nothing but open field on the near side here. That was a tricky play. 10 yards only of DC gain, I think, is actually a blessing.
From Chicago's 45, 1st and 10. Hamlin under center. She's got two receivers to her right. She'll hand it to Grigsby. Up the middle, breaks tackles, past the 40, down to the 35. Another 10-yard gain for DC. And it's been Kenyetta Grigsby doing a lot of damage, running the ball tonight. She's got 2 rushing touchdowns. She's done a good job. And they're going to say she's just short of the first down. So it's second down in inches as the clock continues to go. 12-12 to go in the fourth quarter.
Man, right guard Jennifer Gray is really having a good game, especially in the last 2 plays. She has come out and just taken the Chicago Force defender. I mean, they're moving them back 3, 4, 5 yards. We just tackled ourselves on that play.
Grigsby, though, gets the handoff again. It's enough for the first down. So DC moves the chains at the 35 of Chicago. So it's going to waste some more time. Under 12 minutes to go, 41-28 DC. They have the lead and the football. And if you're DC, you're looking to use some of this clock up as well.
Yeah. Keep running the ball, keep giving it to Grigsby.
If you're Chicago in that defense, maybe you're going to blitz a little bit more, put a little more pressure, gamble more on the run at this point.
Yep.
So you got receivers to the left, one to the right, I formation Hamlin. On 1st and 10 at the Force 35-yard line. DC's up by 13 here in the fourth.
Definitely taking their time at the line of scrimmage.
The pitch to Grigsby to the near side. She has space, cuts inside. Inside the 30, pushed out of bounds at the 26-yard line. So close to another first down. It's not like the Divas are getting 1 or 2 or 3 yards. They're getting chunks on each run.
And I think that speaks to the fatigue, unfortunately, that we're seeing, with the Force defense. They've been putting up a really good fight. But, I mean, the size, when you stand here looking at the DC huddle and you look at the size of their interior alignment, it's significant. It's a matchup issue for sure.
So it's going to be 2nd down and 1 as the clock goes down under 11 minutes right now. And a good battle between two of the top teams in the Women's Football Alliance. Hamlin is just going to take it right up the middle, QB sneak. Inside the 25, that's going to be enough for another 1st down for the Divas. Moves the chains, and again, more time coming off the clock. This snap is going to come from the 23-yard line. Now, if you're head coach John Konecki of Chicago, got to find something. How do you get in there and clog some of these holes?
We got a little bit different force defensive lineup here. We got Mary Chules down at the line of scrimmage. We got Jen Dulski in, also an outside linebacker, but right on the edge of the line of scrimmage coming in. So it does seem like maybe what they're trying to do is with a smaller, quicker defensive front to get through the DC offensive line.
So it's 41-28 DC. Again, up the middle on 1st down. Gonna bring up 2nd down, but this one again inside the 20, down to the 19.
Yeah, the body language that we're seeing from the force here is definitely signaling the fatigue that they feel, and I think the pressure that they're feeling being backed up within their own, their own 20 yards there.
And again, you see this offense now wasting some time, milking the clock. At the 19-yard line, 2nd down and 6. Ball marked just inside the right hash mark. Hamlin looks over the defense. Got single coverage all over the field. But right now, DC's looking to run.
A lot of space on the left side.
Hamlin gives it to Pickett to the right side, and this one's stuffed. This one was snuffed out, and the force able to make a stop.
So Jen Dulski and Alicia Oakley there.
Dulski and Oakley make the stop, a loss of 1. So back at the 20, it's going to be 2nd down and 7. The clock just went under 9 minutes here in the 4th quarter. 41-28 DC. Again, letting the clock go. Using some of that clock now here in the 4th. DC looking to go 4-1. If Chicago would happen to lose, they would be 4-1. Hamlin again looks over the defense, lets that time go. Gonna fake it, looking to throw. Near sideline, and it's incomplete. She had a receiver that came back for the ball. The receiver was open.
Yep.
It should have been caught by Katrina Wilson. Went through her hands, incomplete inside the 5. It also stops the clock. So now you got 4th down and 7. They're going to call it 4th and 7 at the 20 with 8:24 to go. If Chicago can get a stop, they're only down by 13.
I mean, it's very possible. I mean, so that's got to be the big play right here. I mean, you got to be getting the troops together here and understanding that this is the pivotal moment of the 2nd half.
Well, that's why you don't throw the ball here. And they're going to go for a field goal? This is going to be from 37 yards out from Stephanie Nealis. Nealis, the kick, it's going to be short.
Yeah.
And the ball's still being played. She can pick it up.
Yeah.
DC went off the field. The force picked it up. And DC didn't even know. The force picked it up and are running it back on the far sideline. It was Jamie Fornell. The field goal was short. It bounced in the end zone. Fornell just picked it up. DC players were walking off the field.
Yep.
Fornell picked it up on the far sideline. She got a couple blocks. There was nobody there for DC. The Divas are very lucky that some of their players even stayed on the field.
Yes.
And how about the tackle coming from Katrina Wilson, number 85, to take Fornell out of bounds. But a huge play for Chicago, down by 13. And they got great field position.
I mean, great field position. I mean, but the question we have to be asking is what makes DC go for a field goal from there?
Well, that's why I questioned it so much. So this is marked at the 13-yard line. It was brought back 87 yards plus because Fornell picked it up at the end of the back of the end zone.
Absolutely.
So now at the 13, force in business, down by 13. Gore, shotgun, looking to throw, screen the gray on the far side, caught. She stretches forward, jumps down, and not much on that play. Maybe a gain of 1, if anything.
Man, I mean, the DC players still seem to be a little incredulous out here. Like, how did we just end up here as we were knocking on the door of the end zone to the far end?
But now Chicago's got to find something. What can get them in?
Yep.
Because DC's done a good job as they've been pinned back.
Yep.
They've made some stops.
We've got the Chicago Force heavy offensive set in here, and this is really the bread and butter that we've seen be successful in short yardage situations, and this is the go-to set for the Force offense.
Barnett's in motion. Jet sweep to the far side. She cuts back inside. On her feet down to the 10. Tackled by Tia Watkins. We've just gone down to 7.5 to play, almost just 7 minutes now to play. And this is a big third down. Chicago has not been able to get a lot of yards here.
Yep, not gonna lie. And it's unfortunate on that play, Dawn Peterson actually made a pancake block on somebody and then was laying on top of them trying to make space for Zoe Barnett to slide through.
3rd and 7 from the 11. Chicago, Gore in the gun. Looking to throw, and it's incomplete. She tried to throw it to the far side, the Brick. A little bit out of the reach of Cassie Brick, and now a huge 4th down.
Yeah.
4th and 7 at the Divas 11-yard line.
I mean, it's too bad. Jamie Fornell was open on the inside slant route on the left side of the field, but nobody was looking at her there.
I know you don't want to call a timeout, but this is maybe you get a timeout. You've got to have this play. This would put you down by a single possession.
Yeah, and we're in empty backfield.
4th and 7. Gore has time. Looking to throw it. Far sideline intercepted by DC at the goal line. Picked off and brought back to the 20-yard line, and it's Safi Motiji. Safi Motiji, one of the top defensive players for DC. Motiji had 2 interceptions last week against Atlanta. She gets a huge one here at the goal line and a turnover for Chicago.
Man, that's too bad that didn't work out for the Chicago Force. I mean, Fornell was going up the sideline on a wheel route. It looked like she was going to be open. Rachel threw the ball, and DC just stepped right in front of it.
What a play from Mojidi. And DC takes over, and what a huge opportunity for Chicago to get it down to the 13-yard line and can't do anything with it.
I mean, huge dodged bullet for DC. I mean, really, for them to make that kind of play after a real gap in the field goal.
So now the handoff, Grigsby. She's going to be cut down for a loss on the play. Back inside the 20, back to the 16-yard line. The line of scrimmage was the 18 to start that drive, so it's going to be 2nd down and 12. But now the time, a huge factor, 6:15, 6:14 and counting here in the 4th. DC still holding on to a 2-possession game, 41-28. And if you get any points on that drive, you really need a touchdown. But boy, that was a huge opportunity. We'll look back on that.
Yeah, that'll be the play that they're reviewing in the film session this week for sure.
On 2nd and 12. From the 16, Hamlin under center. You can see the pressure coming in Hamlin. They're just going to push the pile.
Yep.
So really, it's more like a kneel down, but just trying to get some positive yards. Hamlin pushes the pile forward. So it's going to bring up 3rd down and long. She gained 3. 5:35 to go here in the 4th.
Which is an interesting play call again. Like, why go for such a short yardage play on a quarterback sweep or, a wedge play, basically?
Well, I think their thought, DC's thought is our defense can make a stop.
Yeah.
We don't want to make anything silly where we throw a pick and they take it back for a pick 6.
Yeah.
We have confidence in our defense that we're just going to milk this clock as much as we can.
I'd be like, I've got Grigsby.
And they do. So it's back at the 18-yard line, 3rd and 10 with 5 minutes to go in the 4th. Hamlin pitches at the Grigsby. She's tripped up. She gets to the 20, gets inside the line of scrimmage. And now some more time's going to come off. 4th down. DC will punt. 4:48, 4:47. Clock is running down here in the 4th quarter. Nealis will punt it away. At midfield would be Cassie Brick. Boy, if you needed a punt return for a touchdown right now, you need one right now, Cassie Brick is the player that can get it to you.
I think if you're the special teams coach, you should be saying punt it out of bounds.
4:26, 4:25, the clock's still moving. DC up by 13. They will punt it away.
I mean, you should be kicking it to a sideline, hoping it goes out at the 45 or the 50 would be ideal, but you cannot kick it down the middle of the field.
Nealis will punt it. Has plenty of time. Not a great kick. It bounces. Brick is going to let it drop.
Oh, no.
and just let it go.
Oh.
So it's going to take a DC bounce past midfield and into forced territory. They're going to mark it at the 47-yard line of Chicago. So Chicago's got to go 53 yards. You need 2 touchdowns. 4 minutes exactly to go in the fourth.
All right.
4 minutes, and you need 2 scores.
Engine's got to be running here for the Chicago Force. I mean, we got to go quick to the line of scrimmage. We got to be moving the ball fast.
Force have 4 wideouts, 3 to the near side. Gore in the gun, gets a snap, looking to throw. Far sideline, caught by Gray. Inside the 40, down to the 35, taken out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Nice pitch and catch, Gore to Gray. Did they say she got out of bounds? She did. So 3:51 is the stopped clock.
Yeah,
The clock continues to go, though, because she didn't get out of bounds. They just stopped it for the first down. From the 34, Gore looking to throw again, far sideline, caught, tipped around, Forno couldn't keep it. Forno had it for a second and bobbled it out of bounds, incomplete.
Which is actually probably a good thing.
Correct,
There was
it
a DC
stops the clock.
There was a DC defender right on her that it almost looked like she might come up with the ball.
Well, more importantly, it stops the clock because you didn't gain much. 41-28, DC has the lead, forced ball. 3:37 to go in the fourth. From the 34, Gore back in the gun. It's got time, looking to throw. It's the screen, the brick. Middle of the field, down to the 30, goes to the far sideline, 25. Tries to go out of bounds and does. Has enough for the first
Nice.
down and gets out of bounds.
Great read by Cassie Brick there. I mean, she was almost near the left hash here and made her way, going behind the blockers, making her way all the way to the left.
It dropped. Get back on. Get back on. The screen will tipped. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We're back up. 3:14 to go on a tip screen that falls incomplete. So we have 3:14 to go. Chicago forced ball. 3rd and 10 from the 23 of DC. Gore in the gun. Forced down by 2 possessions. Gore on a wild screen out to Forno, and Forno comes up hurting a little bit. Gore through the pass behind Forno, goes out of bounds, incomplete. And now the scoreboard had the wrong down, so it's going to be 3rd down and 10 now at the 23-yard line. Forno's going to stay in the game, though. So you got to continue to move the chains. Force have the ball. They're down by 13. 3:11 to go. They're down to DC's 23-yard line.
We got Jamie Menzik, who's just coming to play right guard in the offensive line. She's been primarily devoted to defense, so looking for the big bodies here.
And you can see a handoff up the middle. Brick breaks a couple tackles. 15, down to the 10. Tries to get to the pylon. Stiff arm, near side, touchdown. Cassie Brick. Cassie Brick from 23 yards out. Got the handoff, went right up the middle, moved to the left to the near side, got to the outside. Nice, just kind of stiff arm on a defensive player. Got in from 23 yards out, and the Force are still in it. They're down 41-34, PAT to come, exactly 3 minutes to go.
Man, big hunk of that play, those last couple of yards came from great blocking by Ace Lane. And she really maintained her block for the duration of that play and was able to seal the corner so Cassie could turn around.
Here's the PAT, the snap, the hold, the kick is up, and I believe the kick was far right. It is far right. PAT no good. How about Cassie Brick, though, with 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 from 3 yards out. 1 from 10 yards out. This one from 23 yards out.
Wow.
The PAT no good, and right now the score, 41-34. A 7-point lead for DC with 3 minutes to go in the game.
I mean, you can definitely see that the DC sideline, the attitude there has taken a turn, I would definitely say. There's definitely not a whole lot of the bounce around that we were seeing earlier in the game. I think that the missed field goal really threw them for a loop, and being backed up like that, and know the score.
Well, now you got a decision. Do you do an onside kick? Do you kick it deep? But if you're Kelly Rear, you got to keep this kick in bounds. Maybe it's better. I don't think DC will take it at the 35.
I know.
We'll
it's
see.
definitely important that it does stay in bounds here, and something tells me
Kick it off from the 35.
we're kicking.
Forced down by 7 with 3 minutes to go. Kicking it off to DC right to left.
Onside here.
Rear.
Nope.
Kick. Caught at the 45. Moving backwards is Brownson. She gets a couple blocks though up to the 45 near side and goes out of bounds inside Force territory. Nice catch from Callie Brownson, who made her way over to the near side, cut in, pushed out of bounds at the 49.
2 missed tackles by the Force there, but there was a lot of pursuit, and the DC players definitely needed to run a lot of east-west distance there to try and make something happen. So here it is, Force defense, got to make a stand.
Plain and simple, you can't give up any points.
Nope.
No points. DC at the Force 49-yard line. Plenty of time, 2:50. I believe Chicago's got 1 timeout.
I think you're right.
So the clock is going to go pretty quickly here. You just need some stops. It's a wishbone for DC. They're in their bunch formation. Handoff, Pickett to the left hash mark. Cuts inside, nothing there.
Yep.
The Force stand her up. No yardage for Okima Pickett.
Kim Marks and Kelsey Casey, they're really maintaining that edge and keeping anything from squeaking outside.
2nd down and 10 at the 49. 2.5 to go in the game. Hamlin just taking her time back to the huddle.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be milking this clock, as we know. How great would a turnover be right now? Somebody to strip the ball, hit the ball carrier hard, and pop that thing out.
2nd and 10. DC just taking their time coming out of the huddle. They have the 7-point lead again. A bunch formation, wishbone offense.
Chicago's loading the box.
Hamlin under center with 2 minutes to go. Hand off to Grigsby to the near side. Has some positive yards. Going to push out of bounds at the 45. Pushed out by Carolyn Lee and Nicole Matheson.
Yep.
Also Jendulski in there.
I mean, the Force still
The
playing
problem
tough.
is, I'm sorry, the problem is you got pushed out of bounds.
Yeah, exactly, for them.
So it stops the clock.
Yeah.
1:55 to go, and Chicago doesn't have to use a timeout. So Grigsby did everything right, got some positive yards,
Yep.
but didn't go out of bounds. She let herself be out of bounds.
Yeah, should have made a cut to the inside.
So now,
Big 3rd down here, Andy.
you can say that again. 3rd and 6. If DC gets a 1st down, it's over.
Yep.
They're going to mark her. Sorry, they're going to mark her at the 45. Again, the wishbone. Hamlin on 3rd down. Hand off Grigsby. Up the middle, now moves to her right. And now you get the timeout. So she's down to the 42. So it brings up a huge 4th down for DC. And if I'm DC, I wonder about punting the ball away. It's going to bring up 4th. See how far it is. It's going to bring up 4th and 3.
Yeah.
4th and 3 at the 42. Grigsby moved to her right. It's a tough call because,
Punt, huh?
see, I think if you're DC, if you're Allison Fisher, the head coach, you have to have trust in your defense to make a stop.
Yeah.
You want the Force to go 80 yards instead of getting the ball at the 42 yard.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I mean, I think you're right. It gave them the opportunity if you can punt it out of bounds to where it goes out of bounds at the 10 or the, as close to the goal line as you can get it, but you're eliminating that opportunity for return. Maybe
So-
you should be a coach.
It's 4th down. No, I have too much fun being a broadcaster. 4th and 3. So it comes down to this with 1 minute and 51 seconds. If Chicago gets the ball back, they do have some time. They won't have any timeouts, but they will have time.
Well, Coach Konecki's specialty is running a no-huddle, fast-paced 2-minute drill. So it sure would be entertaining to see.
And I believe they're going to punt it away. They are. Stephanie Nealis is out for DC, so Chicago's going to get the ball back. Now watch the fake.
Yep.
Watch the fake. But Nealis is going to punt it away, and if I'm Chicago, I don't have anybody back. I go punt safe.
Yeah.
I watch the front.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, you have to be aware for the fake as you're talking about. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, you actually hope it rolls into the end zone.
Well, to be honest, you hope it goes to Brick, because Brick's waiting at the 15. Nealis kicks it away. Brick has a chance to pick it up and does. At the 12, gets to the 15, to the 20, tries to break some tackles and she cannot. The ball is on the floor and it's picked up by Chicago. So Brick got her hands on it. Get some positive yards for Chicago as DC punted it away. They're going to mark her down at the 22-yard line. So that's where Chicago start. They've got to go 78 yards to try to tie this thing up. Chicago's down by 7, 41-34. They have no timeouts, but they have 1 minute, 40 seconds. The force from the 22. They're going to spread it out. 5 wideouts. Fornal in motion. Fakes the handoff. Gives to Gore up the middle. Past the 25 to the 26-yard line. The force are going to have to go fast. They can do it quickly. And now you got an injured DC Diva, and that's going to be a huge pause of time.
That's free timeout right there.
Gore went up the middle, and Jamian Strong is hurt. So the medical staff has to come out to attend to her. So now your head coach, John Konecki of Chicago, you have a chance to bring the team together, even just get a huddle.
Yep.
But it stops the clock. So you have to be ready to go at the start of this play. 1:26 to go. Force down by 7. They do have the basketball. Or except the basketball. They got the football.
Too much fun as a broadcaster.
I'm glad. I'm glad we're not down by 7 in this being basketball.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's
exactly.
7 in football.
Although if you had a minute and a half left in basketball, you'd be like, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll take that. Again, we appreciate everybody listening on WJOB tonight. About 185 people watching us on video right now. The Chicago Force trying to come back. They were down by 20 with 26 seconds to go in the third quarter. They made the comeback. Chicago was down 41-21. Zoe Barnett got a rushing touchdown. Cassie Brick got a rushing touchdown. As Strong is being helped off to the near side, Divas bench. Chicago's going to be ready to go when clock just continues to move. 1:26. It's 2nd and 6 from their own 26. Force have got to be ready to go. The whistle. Gore, screen out, Brick. Far side 20. 25, pushed out of bounds just before the 30-yard line.
I could see this being a
Stops the
strategy
clock.
for Coach Konecki here to needle DC to death, to go for those short passes, run them to the sideline, where this is where our strength of the bubble pass comes into play, right? To be able to complete that, get a couple yards, and go out of bounds.
At the 30, it's going to bring up 3rd and 2. 3rd down. Gore fakes the handoff, looking to throw. Far sideline,
Nice.
caught. First down and more past the 35-yard line. But the clock continues. No, it's going to stop for the first down, but then it's going to continue to run. 1:14 to play. The clock is stopped to get the ball set, and here it goes. Up to the 36-yard line. Forced to have a ways to go. Go on the gun. Screen the Brick. Near side. Complete. 30. 35, 40. Breaks a tackle. 45, 50. To the 45. Cuts inside to the 43-yard line. Cassie Brick used some speed. Broke some tackles. Inside a minute. 57 seconds to play.
Real opportunity there, and she was trying to cut back in order to wait for some defenders to come through so that she'd have a little help to the end zone. Slipped in the turf there and went down hard.
Again, the clock is going to go when they get the ball set. 57 seconds. The Force down by 7.
Taking the officials some time to get the ball set here, so it's a little breather and giving the Force a chance to get a different play call in.
Down to the 43 of the Divas. Gore's in the gun. It's got wideouts to each side. She's got Brick to her left. It's going to be a handoff to Brick. Up the middle, she's tripped up.
Yeah.
She had some space, but was tripped up, and the clock continues to move. No, they're going to say Chicago had another timeout.
Oof,
so
good.
luckily for us, we don't have official stats up here.
Yeah, exactly.
But Konecki, head coach John Konecki, uses the timeout with 43 seconds. Obviously, he probably would not have used that play if he didn't have a timeout.
Yeah.
It looked like Brick was going to have more room, but he got tripped up.
Oh, she was very close. And, I mean, that's what we're seeing here is the dimension that Cassie Brick brings to the Chicago offense. I mean, it's a speed, it's an agility, it's a familiarity with this organization and the team that's really giving her the chance to break out. And DC is definitely on their heels right now.
43 yards to go for Chicago. They're down by 7. First got to get the score.
Yep.
Then you decide if you want to go for the win. Or you go to try to put it in overtime. Not much of a gain there on first
Standing here
down.
now, I think Coach Kinnick will go. I don't know. Part of me thinks he would go for the tie to keep the game going. Another part says he would never do
If
it.
you're a Forest fan, let's hope it gets to that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the 43, second down and 10. No gain on first down. You've got 4 receivers to the far side. Jeanette Gray, the lone receiver on the near side. One-on-one coverage, too.
We got some confusion in the Force
Yeah.
offensive line here.
Yeah, they're moving people. Gore's going to make sure everyone's set on this second down and 10
Good, we got the time.
from the 43. Gore gets a snap, runs to her right, tries to get some blocks, does,
bounds,
gets
get
to
out
the
of
far
bounds.
sideline, gets out of bounds, and they're going to say she's marked out of bounds inside the 35 or right at the 35-yard line. Again, she gets out of bounds 36 seconds. So Gore just took the snap, ran to her right, got to the outside, goes out of bounds, and now you got to see how far you are from the first down. 3rd and 1 at the 35 is what they're calling. It's a long one, though. It's almost to the 33-yard line.
Yep.
At the 35, the Force spread it out again on 3rd down. Gore gets the snap, looking to throw. Far sideline, caught by Gray at the 30. More room to the 25, push out of bounds. A first down for Chicago with 29 seconds to go. Jay Gray gets the screen, gets out of bounds, gets the first down.
Here we go. The Charlotte
Not
Force
much
finally getting
time,
some
though.
momentum, though.
Ball's marked at the 25. They'll spread it out again on first down and 10. The Force down by 7 here late in the 4th quarter. 29 seconds to play. Gore gets the call from the sidelines. Gore in the gun. Waits for the snap. Gets it. Waist high. Looking to throw. Far sideline. And it is picked off. No, incomplete. Jay Gray or Fornell. It was Fornell double coverage.
Yeah.
And one of the defenders tried to come down, but they couldn't. Wisenot looked like had the catch, but then came down to the ground and lost it.
Yeah, actually she was undercut by one of her own players. The double coverage situation there. Wisenot was up in the air, and her teammate actually came through and nailed her by the feet.
Oh,
She
yeah.
hit the ball when she
Wisenot
hit
had
the
it,
ground.
too.
Looks like she got the wind knocked out of her, too.
It was Safi Mojidi who undercut her, like you said. So now 23 seconds to play, second down and 10 from the 25. 4 wideouts for the Force. Brick to the right of Gore in the gun. And they're going to run it. Brick up the middle to the 20, and this is going to waste some time.
Yep.
Down to the 20, and they had another timeout. My apologies for not knowing the timeouts, but I thought Konecki called a couple timeouts.
Exactly.
But we were wrong. They might have been medical timeouts. So my apologies, fans, not knowing stat. We don't have official timeouts or anything. So now you get your final timeout.
You're on
And
the
this
20.
kind of stops some things that you can do. That run up the middle is pretty much not able to be done now because
Yep.
you're not getting another playoff.
Yep.
So it's 16 seconds. The ball is marked at the 20, and you still have 3rd down and to call it 5.
I mean, our choices are, we saw the last successful play from Gore, running straight to the sideline essentially and running out of bounds. I mean, that's maybe a choice for you.
I like the screen out to Jay Gray
Yeah.
again, or to Brick. That's your 2 speedsters right now. Even Barnett's got some speed, but I don't know if she has enough experience practicing with the team to
Yeah.
know that type of 2-minute offense.
And the hands, we haven't really seen that from her. She's really been running the ball. We haven't seen her catch any passes yet.
3rd and 5 from the Divas 20. We have 16 seconds to go. 5 wideouts for Chicago. Gore has it in the gun. Steps back, looking to throw. Far sideline, there's a receiver there, and the
Pass
flag comes
interference.
out. Fornell was the intended receiver, and we'll see what this is. The pass was pretty far away.
Yes. So you could make that case for sure.
So the clock stops with 10 seconds. They were trying to throw it to Fornell on the far sideline. And now you got to talk about if this pass was even catchable.
I think you can make a case for it being so.
I believe it is. They're marking it off.
Wow.
It's pass interference.
Wow.
And it's a hold. So it's not pass interference, it's a hold.
Ah.
So it's first down with 10 seconds to go. And the ball is marked where?
On the 10,
At the
on
4-yard line. First and goal from the 4 with 10 seconds. Gore has time to throw. Looking, middle of the field, it's picked off by DC. Picked off by the Divas, and they're going to win. In the interception from Safi Mujadi. Her second interception of the game at the goal line, and DC is going to win. Mujadi with another interception. At the 4-yard line. And the clock runs out.
Man.
That's the end of the game. DC wins 41-34.
Wow, what a great end of that game. I mean, the Force was just knocking on the door there. I mean, real opportunity.
With
Just too
10
bad they didn't pull it
seconds.
out.
First and goal at the 4. Gore had some time, tried to look to her right, threw it to the goal line, and Mujadi was there to get her second interception of the game. And DC will move on to their record of 4-1. Chicago will now be 4-1, and it's wide open in the National Conference.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, it was a great game, definitely what we expected. It was great to see the Chicago Force come back at the end of the game, really push through and fight until the end.
What a game. It's exactly what you wanted to see to display the Women's Football Alliance, women's tackle football. And I'm glad we were able to bring it not just on the web stream, but also on the radio. And if you're head coach John Konecki and the Chicago Force, you got to get ready. You got to move on. There's still a lot of schedule, a lot of season to play. You take on Indy. We'll have the game on radio next week, 4:45 p.m. If Chicago can beat Indy next week, they'll win their division for the 7th straight year. You've got a lot to play for. The season doesn't end tonight. You got to swallow it up a little bit tonight, though.
Yeah.
You had some opportunities, some huge penalties.
Huge penalties.
And it took a while for the offense to get going. They gave it a valiant effort at the end. But DC now moves their record to 4-1, and DC will move forward. They'll take on Keystone at Keystone. Then they have Philadelphia and Boston. How about the end of the year game on June 4th? As DC will take on Boston at home. They beat Boston earlier this season 35-32. So you got 2 4-1 teams moving forward. One with a lot of confidence winning on the road. Another one who had a chance. And now you got to suck it up, get ready for another home game next week.
You know, they absolutely do. And I mean, there's a lot of takeaways that are positive for the Force in this game. I mean, this is really their first test. Again, a very talented team. And I think the biggest thing to take away from this is that they were able to rally and come back and stick with the game, you know, down to that last minute. And so proud of them for the way that they played today. But there's definitely going to be some very detailed film sessions and some definite critiques of what we saw today.
Wow, what a game. It was a good one between 2 good women's tackle football teams. And how about the DC Divas going on the road here to Chicago and getting a win on the road? Before we give our last thoughts and give our mentions to the sponsors again, I want to thank again the crew back in the WJOB, the radio producer, Christina Cortez, everything she did tonight. From the webcast side, Chuck Pullen and the directing he did tonight, the cameraman Jeff Corey, Rob Cantu. I'm glad we were able to get this one on video stream, and we had a lot of people watching. I think we're up to almost 200 people watching online tonight, and no telling how many people listening on WJOB, but that's a tough one. That's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah, it definitely was, and you know, the Force is going to look back, I think, on this game as we march through the season and definitely see it as a building block. They had the opportunity and just didn't capitalize on them tonight. But there's a lot to be gained from this game, and it's something that they need to focus on as they practice in the coming week.
One final mention of all our sponsors tonight. We couldn't do this without the great sponsors of Chicago Force Football. And Chicago Force Football is brought to you by Athletico, by Celtic Crown Pub, by DLG Management, by Rayla and Associates PC, and by Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. So Chicago had the lead 15-13 midway through the second quarter. DC would get a touchdown late in the second quarter. They would go on and get 21 unanswered points. Chicago would come back, though. In the fourth, you get the touchdown from Zoe Barnett to make it 41-28. Cassie Brick gets a touchdown after a stop for Chicago. Cassie Brick from 23 yards out, 41-34. Chicago gets the stop late in the fourth. They get it all the way down to the 4-yard line, but Chicago cannot knock it in. Your final thoughts as we wrap up tonight, we get ready to take on the Indy Crash next week.
Hey, learn from today. Bring it next week and be ready for the next one. Boston and Pittsburgh are hanging out there still.
So don't forget, we'll be on the air 4:45 next Saturday. The Chicago Force will host the Indy Crash, trying to win their 7th straight division title. Once again, the final score, the DC Divas 41, the Chicago Force 34. For Tricia Charbonneau, I'm Andy Garcia. Thanking everyone from listening, watching the Chicago Force football on AM 1230 WJOB. We'll talk to you next week. So long, everybody.